He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Wait a minute. I know you.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
I know that, dude.
He's a modern-day Yoda.
I'm your huckleberry.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Greetings and salutations.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. You're excited. Feel these nipples.
That boy's good. Good and terrible.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say.
This is the Mike Rutherford Show on the Big X.
Sportos and motorheads, geek bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Welcome to the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133.
All right. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, December 10th. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus. We're coming to you live from the world-famous University of Louisville College of Business Studios here in the heart of gross and gloomy Louisville, Kentucky. Cards fans can take accounting to a whole new level with U of L's Masters in Accounting and Analytics. In-depth data analytics courses allow you to achieve a new mastery of accounting in this AACSB-accredited program. 11-month competitive internship opportunities and full access to the Becker CPA exam review. Prepare to graduate career ready in just 12 months. Visit business.louisville.edu today to find out more. We are on the air today from 2:32 until 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM, streaming across the globe. You know what's better is the Big X. It's Mike Rutherford. It's Roman Kelly. It's producer Matt Childress in the house as well here. On a interesting Wednesday, we've got some things to dive into, namely the expected, but maybe not expected in the way that it all went down, cancellation of the Louisville-Georgia football series. We had some big-time college basketball on the air last night to react to. We've got some continued fallout from the Notre Dame whining and taking their ball and going home college football playoff. I don't even call it snub, just being left out that we can talk about. ACC taking some heat for something. ACC getting some credit for something. Your thoughts on the Gameday Men's Health text line about all of this and more at 502-414-1450. Plenty to get to today. We'll have some fun along the way. It's Wednesday. We don't have a game until Saturday. Volleyball's not in action until Friday. We'll get off the beaten path a couple times. I got a couple stories to throw at producer Matt and producer Roman to have some fun today. Before we do any of it, we say hi to our guy Roman Kelly, a.k.a. Romy Bean on Twitter. Roman, how are you, buddy?
Doing great. Had a pretty long night, long morning as well, but I'm feeling good. I'm excited to talk all things Louisville sports with you, so can't complain. How are you?
Doing well. Producer Matt in the house. You just heard him on Running with Roman for the last 30 minutes. You'll hear him again here on the Mike Rutherford Show. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. Like you said, really ugly day today out. Was kind of scared during Running with Roman when we were talking. We had some light flickers on in here.
Troy came in from the back house, the Troy Chateau, came into the main station here and was like, did we lose power? Because, been here long enough to know sometimes when the lights flicker, that's all it takes to get knocked off the air for about 15 minutes. And I was like, I think I heard them still talking in there. I don't think they ever stopped. So
we were going, one of the first Say Next games I ever had to help produce. I was just sitting there, and I had just learned how to do it, so, anybody texting me, asking me questions, I didn't know how to answer. I just knew which buttons to press that, let me hear John Spears over the radio. The power goes out for, 0.4 seconds. It ended up taking us, an hour and a half to 2 hours to get everything. The whole studio shut down. John's texting me. He's like, I'm talking. I can't hear myself. Well, John, that's because nothing's on the air. Nothing we can do. He's like, what are you going to do about it? Sir, I just got here last week.
It's like, well, I've got a piece of gum and a toothpick. I'll go out there and see what I can do. Maybe I'll stand on top of the generator, see what happens. So, you guys, Roman kind of knows. Matt doesn't know. When I was here the first, 2 years, we got knocked off the air 3 times a week. It was every other day something was happening. The whole system, the computer needed to reboot. A strong gust of wind, someone talking too loud would knock us off the air. It was just constant, and it got to the point where the entire like system died here. So we had to go over to the OG studio in Jeffersonville for like 6 months while they got everything taken care of and got a whole new system in place. Since that happened and we came over here to the across the hall from where we used to be, knocking on wood here, we've had a great run of success where like we haven't gotten knocked off the air for anything outside of having too many listeners on the stream, which was also a big point of contention. But things have been a lot better. But there was a point in time where the first like year and a half I worked here, I was like, I mean, I feel like I've been off the air like 35% of shows here. I don't know if this is even worth it. But we fixed it. We've improved. We've evolved. And look at us now. We're a well-oiled machine.
You came back the first day, and they were like, Mike, okay, rules are you can't talk, get coffee, and run the microwave at the same time. Don't do that. We're good.
It was something like that. And then Trevor was like, I'm going to do what I can. And I was like, what are you going to do here? Like what, again, like bubblegum, paperclip, like MacGyver it. I don't know what you can actually do. And he's like, would press some buttons and nothing would work. And then we're like,
it's like that meme.
I guess we're going home.
It's like that meme of the dude looking in front of the servers and he's like rubbing his face. He's like, I don't know what to do about this.
Pretty much exactly. Yeah. Oh boy. Like it's like classic, just Trevor the janitor trying to fix something that he has no idea how to fix.
Old Trevor.
It did. It was a frustrating time at times, but still always lovely. It was just became part of the charm back in the day. At least that's what I said. While inside I was like, this is just, we got to do something about this. But we've been good since then. It's been all good for the past couple years or so. We got a lot to get to. I had a big day today for the kiddos. Virginia got out of school early. She was excited about that. John, the big guy, visited him at school. Santa was there. Boom. We also had, did you guys ever do like St. Nicholas Day growing up?
No.
I don't think so.
So I'd never heard of it until, so I went to public grade school until like I think 5th grade, 4th grade, and went to Holy Trinity. And then they all the kids over there were talking about St. Nick. Like, you leave your shoes out, he puts a little toy in around this time of the year. I was like, what the hell is that? So my mom was like, do you want to do it? So I remember we did it one year, and I was like, it devalues Christmas. I'm out on St. Nick Day. But now we've had the same thing with Virginia, where she's going to Catholic school for the first time this year. She had friends talking about St. Nick, and we were basically like, our friends are kind of 50-50 on who does it and who doesn't do it. And I was like, well, let's just see how this goes. I was like, I don't want to do it if we don't have to do it. It's just another thing during this crazy time. And sure enough, like last night, Virginia's like, I guess we're not good kids because St. Nick hasn't come to. And she's like, I was like, well, I mean, you forced our hand. At this point, we got no choice. We resisted the elf for as long as we could. Had to start doing that. Now and we were basically like, Mary, to her credit, like classic, like on the fly mom thinking. She was like, isn't that something to do with like shoes and acting like we'd never heard of this thing before? And Virginia kind of explains what it is, and she's like, well, I think it's just because we haven't put our shoes out for they don't have anywhere he doesn't have anywhere to put presents. So we put the shoes out last night, did the thing, and then our niece comes over today, and she's like, why haven't I gotten any? I was like, oh, I was like, text your sister, figure this out. So we've now gotten roped into this. We'll see if it comes back around next year. But it's you've got to think about the future when it comes to stuff like this. When you've got kids that are still this young, you commit to it for 1 year. It's like a minimum 5-year commitment at this point. Like, you can't just back out of this next year. You're locked in. You're doing St. Nick for the foreseeable future.
I have never heard of this before.
Yeah.
There's no just stopping when John, it's like 10 years.
The thing is, John's pretty low maintenance. I think we could not bring it up next year, and John wouldn't think twice about it. Like, Mary was all worried last night about making sure they had equal amounts of presents and all. And I was like, and finally at a certain point, I was like, John doesn't care. Like if you give John chocolate at some point, he's gonna be fine. Woke up this morning, came downstairs, saw that he had a giant Hershey Kiss. Didn't care about anything else. Didn't care what Virginia's presents were like. Didn't care what he actually got for a toy. Just wanted to know if he could eat the chocolate for breakfast. I said no. I said we'll eat it later. He still was happy. That's all my man cares about. He just got a sweet tooth. And it's fine. Santa came today. He was very excited about that at school. So we're rolling around.
He's feeling great.
He's feeling, well, he still is just complaining about it. He hates school. Every day he talks about how long school is. I'm like, buddy, you're there for 2.5 hours. Virginia's there for like 9.
That's early to be complaining about it.
Oh, my God. He's
going to hate high school.
Well, that was me, too. I can't blame. I hated school from preschool on, despite having no real reason to. John's the exact. When he gets there, he's fine. But every single morning, he's like, just completely thrown. He also has no idea. He's got no sense of time. He has no idea if he's got school or not on a day-to-day basis. It'll be like 6 o'clock at night on a Friday, and he's like, "Do I have school today?" I'm like, "Buddy, when do you think you go to school?
We just ate dinner.
You've been for 2 years, and we're halfway through year 3. How do you think this works?" Just zero spatial awareness, just no idea about what's going on. But I love him. He's he was getting ready to go outside yesterday morning when it was so cold it was snowing, and he has a big jacket, and he like puts his hood up, and he goes, "I got my hood up," and it made me laugh. And so when he makes me laugh, like, he's locked in. So the entire drive to school, he's just like, "I got my hood up. I got my hood up. I got my hood up." And I was like, oh, God, what have we done to this kid? He's very much my son, and I love him for that. But he's having a good time. We're enjoying the festivities. We had a good night last night. I got a chance to, recorded some stuff, and then had to work for the Jimmy V Classic doubleheaders. I came into the night expecting to write about Florida UConn. Very good game. First of all, did you all watch either one of these games last night?
I fully watched the Florida UConn game. I only got to see a little bit of the BYU Clemson game.
Roman, what were you into?
Pretty much the first half of each.
I ended up writing about AJ DeBonsa because that was a ridiculous performance last night. I hated it because it looked like Clemson, a team that we talked about yesterday, as having a good, not great resume. Maybe the computer metrics really like them. They've been consistently good for the last handful of years. Should be an NCAA tournament team, but you've got to start stacking some quality wins up at some point. They thought they had one last night. They go on a 21-0 run in the first half. They lead by 21 points at halftime. They lead by as many as 22 in the second half. And then, I had some doubts about AJ DeBonsa after watching the FIFA World Cup games this summer, just because it seemed like he wasn't quite as developed. I thought Michael Brown and Koa Pete were the best players on that team. I saw the flashes with DeBonsa. I'm like, I get why he's such a good pro prospect, but I don't know if he's going to be the type of college player for this 1 year that people think he can be. And my God, last night, that second half was as impressive a thing as I've seen from an individual in a long time. He goes out there, second half, BYU scores 45 points. He assists or scores 34 of them himself. He has 5 of his 6 assists, 7 of his 9 rebounds after the half. He outscores Clemson and out-rebounds Clemson by himself in the second half in both categories, which is outrageous. He was remarkably good. And when Brad Brownell tried to overcompensate down the stretch and say, look, we're not going to let this one kid beat us, he assisted on 4 consecutive baskets, a couple to Keita for dunks, one to Kendall Davis for a 3. He was remarkably good. And then serving as sort of a distraction on the final possession, the final play, helps allow Rob Wright to get a clear look, or semi-clear look at the buzzer, and BYU wins it. Stinging loss for Clemson, but a huge feather in the cap of BYU. And DeBonsa, that was one of those where I was like, all right, I get it. He 28 points in the game, new career high for him, matched the highest points by a BYU freshman, I think, all time. I'm sure he'll break that later in the season. But that was definitely the type of effort where I was like, this guy's got more than maybe I thought he would have this one season. And BYU could be very, very good when all is said and done if he continues to evolve like this. And then the nightcap, UConn. I thought it was the best that Florida's looked. I've seen them play a decent amount. Xavier Lee played a good game, a guy who's really struggled. Their front court's as good as advertised, and UConn's still able to kind of gut out a win. They were the better team from start to finish. They went 77-73. I think they're very good. I think Florida, people are kind of had the same takeaway as I did, where it's like, ooh, they're going to be fine. I don't know if they're going to be fine, because fine for a defending national champion that was a preseason top 5 team should be good enough to repeat his national title. I don't know if they're going to get there, but I do think that they will be much better as the season goes on. I don't think that they're going to limp into the NCAA tournament. I think they'll be like a 4 or a 5 seed that's capable of winning a couple of games just because of how good their front court is. Boogie Flam was not good last night. Lee was really good. The Clavsar kid coming off the bench didn't really have much of an impact. I just don't know if you can rely on Lee to be a 16 points, efficient type offensive player every time out. He was that way last night, but we haven't seen it from him consistently so far.
Been an inconsistent play outside of their front court all year long.
Yeah. I mean, their backcourt's been not great. Flan had foul issues last night. He also made some key mistakes when he did play. But they've got 3 of the best forwards / big men in college basketball in Hout, Chinyalu and Alex Condon. I mean, I think Halk's been one of the best players in college basketball this season. He was remarkably good. He looks like a lottery pick out there. He has made that leap. And Condon's the guy who was preseason first-team All-American. So, good basketball last night. Matt, any primary takeaways from what you saw?
You guys kind of touched on it yesterday during your show. Florida's front court, especially last night, looked exceptional. Like, they've looked good every single game, but last night, I just watched and I was like, gosh, these guys are ridiculous. They play on a completely different level than any other front court I've gotten to watch this season. There's some that can compete, but I mean the rate at which they block shots, the confidence they have down low, and the way they help move their offense from inside to out is extremely impressive. Last night was Xavier Lee's probably best game of the season so far.
Yeah, for sure.
I still was unimpressed by what I saw. It looked extremely inefficient. Like, a lot of the shots, he was hitting some tough shots. He was getting to the bucket a couple times, but it was one of those games where, like, it's going in or it's not even close. So it looked like when I'm watching Denzel Aberdeen play for UK. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, okay, he's scoring a lot, but the other ones look really bad.
He just stands out, which is why people gravitate towards him, because he does everything in this flashy way. He can't just lay it in. It's like this reverse, twirl the ball around. So when it works, it looks really good, and you're like, damn, I'm impressed with that kid. And then you kind of ignore the flashy layup that doesn't work the next 3 times. And inefficient's the right word.
On the other hand, Boogie Fland, I mean, this dude just looks like he's playing for a team he doesn't fit in on
or care about.
It makes no sense. I thought obviously he didn't score a lot of points. He didn't score barely any. But in the second half, he finally, I think he had a layup, and I was like, oh, Boogie Fland, 1 for 2, and I was like, he's only taking 2 shots.
Yeah,
he's
sat most of the first half.
He's not even playing out there. And then you know what happens at the end of the game when they force the turnover, they're down 3, they have a chance to tie it, and he just doesn't inbound the ball at all. I don't know
the dumbest thing I've seen.
I don't know if maybe he thought they had a timeout or something, and he was expecting it to be called. You're in front of your own bench. I can't imagine. Todd Golden's not screaming at this man even if you turn it over, you just throw the ball in. Don't just give it back. Yeah. It was a frustrating end of the game, but overall it was really good.
The sad thing is I felt like Lee played so much better without Flan on the court with him, where he had the freedom where it was like, he was the primary on-ball guard at Princeton. He was option 1, 2, and 3 for those Tiger teams the last 3 years. And it was like he could kind of relax and just play a little bit and not worry about when to defer to Fland and when not to defer to Fland. Mm-hmm. That's not a workable solution. You can't bench Boogie Fland for the rest of the year just because it makes Xavier Lee a better player. And you also can't bench Xavier Lee because it makes Boogie Fland a better player. They've got to figure out how to work. They don't even have to be great. If they're a good backcourt, if they're a above-average backcourt, Florida's a legit top 15 team because of how good their front court is. Their backcourt's been so bad that they're 5-4 and they're ranked outside the top 15. They've got to get that figured out. But I do think that there was a step in the right direction for them last night. Roman, do you have something you must say?
Not really.
Okay.
UConn looks good.
They do look good. Solo Ball played great. Keep in mind, their only loss this season was a very competitive game against a good Arizona team where they didn't have Terrace Reed, who's their best rebounder, and they got kind of just their ass kicked on the boards by Arizona, which almost single-handedly won the Wildcats that game. UConn probably, for all intents and purposes, should be viewed as like a 10-0 team right now. I know injuries happen, and you have to deal with that. When they've been at full strength, they've been very good and very consistently good. So as a team that can win the national title, no question about it. Michigan pummeled Villanova by 28. Illinois went on the road and handled Ohio State with relative ease, 88-80. Virginia, no problem with Maryland, Eastern Shore. And that's all the ranked games that there were last night. So I guess Kentucky didn't play. Oh, they did?
Oh, they played.
They played?
And apparently they looked good.
There must be something messed up with the ESPN score bug because I don't see them on the top 25.
No, you gotta scroll way down.
Oh my God, I can't. My hands don't work like this. I can't go all the way down to SEC. There's too many conferences. Do they win? I guess
they won.
I'm not gonna look at the box scores. Too much scrolling.
So I watched a little bit of that game. I kind of have to. The big talking point for this game was that Brandon Garrison got benched for the rest of the game at some point in the second half, and Mark Pope yelled at him.
I saw that they were going crazy about the fact that he broke a clipboard.
Yeah, he broke a clipboard. He got angry, and then he was angry in the press conference, and then the initial reaction was, we saw this man cry like 2 weeks ago, almost. So is this like the Cragthorpe, we're just switching from the a player's coach to the angry coach, and like, is this all fake? Is he being real? I was like, this is one of those things where like I feel like he's too emotional, almost. You know what I mean?
It's an overreaction.
He doesn't know what his identity is.
He doesn't. If you're breaking clipboards in games against North Carolina Central, I don't know if that portends good things for the Cats coming. Speaking of their next opponent this weekend against Indiana, quite the bounce back for the Hoosiers last night. We saw that team. I think we all agreed, we're way better than they are. We look like we were about a 20-point better team. They don't have enough scores. They go out there. They beat Penn State 113-72 last night. Lamar Wilkerson, who didn't do that much against us, he had a fine game, but he's one of kind of like two players that can really score for them. Goes out there, breaks the Indiana record for made three-pointers in a game. 10 of 15 from three, 16 of 22 from the field, 44 points to go along with 4 assists and 3 steals. Tucker DeVries was fine as well, but they basically got all they needed in this game from Lamar Wilkerson. They led by 32 at halftime and then won the second half by 9 more points, just destroying a Penn State team that, bear in mind, I don't think anybody thinks that they're like legit. They were 8-1 going into that game last night. It's not like they were a team that had been just awful throughout the season. Now, they've beaten up on a bunch of nobodies and had lost to the only decent team they played in Providence. So not a shock that Indiana wins. Definitely a shock that they win by 50, 41 points or whatever it wound up being. That game for Kentucky now looks a little bit more scary coming up this weekend with the Hoosiers shooting the ball like that.
I was telling Scoots yesterday because big Hoosier fan. I was comparing the teams, and I gave my honest opinion. I was like, dude, Kentucky has really struggled to defend teams that are shooting the three. I mean, Michigan State, not a great three-point shooting team. Let them kind of go off against them. We had a rough shooting night. Still had a great night against them. They just don't defend the perimeter very well. I told myself, if Kentucky plays their best game and Indiana plays their best game, Indiana wins that game. I think by a pretty not sizable margin, but a respectable one. And then we watched that game last night, and I came in today. I was like, if Indiana plays like that.
Yeah, you might be right. I was kind of thinking Kentucky had the edge.
No.
They'll come around. Indiana might be the better team. But they have the same type of athletic edge over Indiana that we do. I just don't think that they know how to utilize it. Or that maybe they don't care about utilizing it. I think that's becoming an increasing issue with that UK team.
Season's over.
How much they shouldn't even play the game. Just go ahead and forfeit this weekend.
Apparently, there were Kentucky fans booing last night
during the NC Central game.
That's what Stephen Peake had told us. It was early on in the game. They were because NC Central kind of hung in there for just a little bit. Like it wasn't too long.
Okay,
it wasn't like Nichols where it was still halftime. Right. It was like the first 10 minutes. It was like a 4-point differential. Apparently, there were some effort things going on. It wasn't loud, but Stephen said there were some audible boos in Rupp Arena last night.
I don't have enough time to pay attention to non-top 25 games this time of year. I don't. So I don't know. I can't speak to that, but I'm Twitter searching. Kentucky fans booing. Let's see if there's anything from last night.
If Kentucky gets down, I'd say by more than like 6 at halftime. There will be audible boos.
This is one of those where it's like we talked about with the game where it was like, if Miller Moss does anything bad at the beginning of this one starts, like they're going to be bad. I think he ended up getting booed at the pregame. If they get down 5-0 in the first segment, there will be some boos from the lower bowl going after Mark Pope. This is I can't think of a game like this for Kentucky in a long time where it feels like they've got more to lose from just a fan satisfaction level or dissatisfaction level than with this one. It may be since like the Oakland game in the first round of the NCAA tournament where everybody's like, Cal didn't have to win it all, but you cannot go out there and lose in the first round again. And he did, and it wound up being the end. Like I think if that team had gone to just the Sweet 16 in that season 2 years ago, Cal's probably still the head coach here if they had an okay year last season. That loss just it became the point of no return for the fan base and Calipari to the point where he was like, all right, if they can pay me enough of that Tyson chicken money to go down there to Fayetteville, I'll make it happen. This is not on that level. I don't think that they're going to fire Mark Pope if they lose to Indiana, but this is the one that he can't lose. St. John's is fine, but Kentucky fans view themselves as so much better than Indiana, both historically and going into this season, and all of a sudden it's like, we're 6-4. We haven't beaten anybody of consequence. You guys are coming to our place. We've been fighting against doing this home and home thing for a long time. If Indiana comes in here in the renewed rivalry and knocks off Kentucky in Rupp, it'll get about as bad as it's gotten amongst that fan base in a long, long time.
Not to mention the leading scorer of that team is a guy that Kentucky was all in on, and Lamar Wilkerson and
They took him
on.
to Keeneland, for God's sake. Right? He was the Keeneland guy.
Yeah, he stepped in horse poop, I think, is what happened.
The look on his face is like, and they shared the pictures on Twitter where they're like, Mark Pope showing him some horses. And like, he was like, what do I do? It's like, you pet it. He's like, can we talk about how much money I'm going to make? How are the girls? Like, where do we party?
Where's the campus at?
How is it good? Yeah, like, how do you want me to play basketball? He's like, look at this horse. Come on, man. This is life. And then he's like, well, I'm going to Indiana. Like, this is terrible. It was an error in judgment on Mark Pope's part, and now it might wind up costing them a critical loss in mid-December a year later. So there's that going on. We'll talk about the big story of the day in the Louisville sports world coming up after the break, which is the cancellation of the scheduled football games between U of L and Georgia for the next 2 seasons. Josh Hurd's statement on the matter, the fallout there, and where Louisville may turn for a game next season to replace the Dogs. We'll talk about that after the break. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1, The Big X. Sports Radio. Mike Rutherford here. Roman Kelly and Matt Childress along for the ride, or Mark Childress. Every time I see the text now, I just laugh. Mark, it's a funny name to see in my phone book. Mark Childress. I won't correct it now at this point. Happy to be here with you on a Wednesday. Let's dive into the big story of the day, which is Louisville and Georgia. I mean, we saw this coming, right? The second that the news broke, I mean, hell, even before the news came out that the SEC was officially going to a 9-game conference schedule, I think we all looked around, and I think my exact quote before the season was, they ain't playing those games. Like we knew that we were going to be on the chopping block for Georgia when the SEC moved to a 9-game conference schedule, because you look at their non-con slate, and especially now with the college football playoff, for teams in the SEC and the Big Ten, there's not a whole lot of incentive for playing marquee non-conference games. I think that we're seeing that more and more. If you take care of business in conference play, you're probably going to get into the playoff as long as you don't slip up in the non-con. Now, where you kind of have to have more of a non-conference resume is if you do lose a couple of games and you need those wins to prop you up. You know, Vandy was talking about that this year. They didn't have any gigantic non-con wins. They lost the game to Texas. And who was their other loss this season? It was somebody else good. Was it Bama?
Think so? I don't know for sure. I can't remember.
Whoever it was, props to Clark Lee, because he's like, look, I'm not going to whine about this. We could have won one of those games. We go 11-1. We lose one conference game. We're going to the playoff. So for us, though, I do think it's nice to have, if we were to knock off Georgia, that gives you a big-time safety net going into conference play. It gives you a chance to not have to run the table in the league or just win the conference championship to be a viable playoff team. I think that's the big allure of having high-profile non-conference games for a program like Louisville. But you look at Georgia's slate, they're not going to play multiple games. They don't want to play. They're not like Jeff Brom. They don't want to play 12 games against power conference opponents. They already play Georgia Tech every single year because that's their built-in non-conference rivalry. They had a scheduled game against Florida State already on the books along with their game against us. So if it comes down to are they going to cut us or FSU, I think we all looked at this and we were like, it's probably going to be us. We're probably not going to, especially with next year's game being played in Louisville, we're probably not going to get that game played. Jeff Brom sort of let the cat out of the bag back on his coach's show in October saying, you know, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm kind of hearing that they don't want to play the game. We want to play the game, you know, all this stuff. It comes out today officially that Louisville and Georgia have mutually agreed to cancel this series.
Terrible.
For the next 2 years. Not a shock, but I think that there were some upset Louisville fans about the way that this came out about, you know, I mean, we talked about it on the air. We don't want to be the West Virginia canceling their series with Alabama or having their series with Alabama canceled and saying it's cool, you don't have to pay us anything. We've seen some other cancellations in the wake of the SEC moving to a 9-game conference schedule. And those SEC programs, some of them have had to buy out of those scheduled games. They've paid $1 million or whatever it is to get the money. In a world where we need to find funds wherever we can, my stance was you got to bleed them dry. If they don't want to play us, cool, you're going to pay us. The news comes out today. There's a mutual agreement to cancel the 2-game series between the two programs. And Josh Hurd, I think, recognizing that this wasn't going to play particularly well with the Louisville fan base, he puts out a statement. And we can read the statement here. He said, recent changes to our home-and-home series with Georgia are another example of the scheduling adjustments that come with today's evolving college football landscape. When Georgia informed us of their need to opt out of the 2026 matchup, several contractual considerations came into play, including cancellation penalties and the structure of the 2027 return game. He lists some bullet points as to things that came up. Georgia would have owed Louisville $1 million penalty for canceling the one game because I think they would have said, well, we're not going to cancel both. Additionally, we could have required Louisville to host Louisville in Athens for a 2027 return game unless they paid an additional buyout. Another important consideration, keeping Georgia on the schedule in both 2026 and 2027, would have forced us to buy out already scheduled non-conference opponents in those years to accommodate the new 9-game ACC slate. That would have added unnecessary costs without improving our overall competition position. Rather than navigating those complexities, both schools work together to find a solution that provides long-term scheduling flexibility for each program. We will look to pursue a future single-game neutral site matchup in the early 2030s. This approach preserves a high-profile game for our fans, avoids unnecessary financial impact for both universities, and positions us well as the postseason landscape continues to evolve. Our goal will always be to deliver the best possible schedules for Louisville football, ones that excite our fans and give our program every opportunity to compete for championships. We look forward to sharing our updated future schedule soon. So that's out there.
You got to go get some money from him, Josh.
My understanding is that there is a exciting non-conference schedule that they're hoping to have announced either today or tomorrow. Unfortunately, it's going to be a neutral site, I think, when all is said and done. This is where I think you have Louisville fans who are going to be upset about this. If you're looking just selfishly at this situation, Louisville season ticket holders, like, this is kind of the big game on next year's schedule. It's a year where Kentucky is away. You don't get Clemson at home. You had that last season. I think we do get FSU at home. Is that right?
I don't remember.
That may be right.
This is where, like, it gets impossible to keep track of. We've got, so Villanova is at home. Charlotte is at home. Our home game, we get Florida State at home. That's good. FSU at home, Georgia Tech, Pitt, SMU, and Stanford. Those are your home games. Not overly thrilling. SMU's cool. They've been good. But Georgia was kind of the marquee game on the schedule. Plus, it's the biggest non-conference home game we would have had in a long time. I think the idea of returning there, going between the hedges in 2027, it was a trip that a lot of people wanted to make, and it was going to be exciting for even the folks that wanted to stay at home. If you're a season ticket holder, look, I've got a million tweets about this. We have a bunch of texts about it already. You're kind of saying, all right, well, are my season tickets going to go down? We're losing a home game. We're losing the marquee home game. I expect to not have to pay premium prices for this, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think that you're going to. Now, if we're losing an entire home game, you're not going to pay as much because that's off the docket. But, we had a guy text in who was like, I changed the date of my wedding for this game, and now I feel like an idiot. I feel bad for those people. I certainly feel bad for people who are banking on this being a thing. This has been on the books for a few years now, and all of a sudden it's being taken away just 10 months before the actual game was set to be played. Now, the financial component of this, and I've tried to get some clarity here, and it has tried to be explained to me. Maybe I just it's rushed explanation here because we're working against the clock here on the radio. My understanding now has become, Louisville could have gotten bought out of one of the games for $1 million. And Georgia would have just canceled one of the games, and we could have played them in 2027. And at that point, then we would have needed to buy out one of our other games that's already on the schedule for 2027 because that's when the ACC is moving to a 9-game conference schedule. So any sort of like bleeding them dry and getting $2 million from them apparently wasn't going to happen, and it was going to be done against their will and all this stuff. And so it was not the financial moneymaker that I thought it was going. Like, if it was as straightforward as it's $2 million to pay to get out of these 2 games, and we're just saying no, we're cool, then I'd be very, very upset. I still don't love. I hate the way that this whole thing played out. It feels like Georgia's getting off scot-free for not wanting to play us, but the way that they were going to handle it, because I think that Josh originally went to their AD, who's also named Josh, and was kind of hold his feet to the fire and say, pay us, pay us, pay us, pay us, pay us. They were, again, only going to cancel one of the games. So that's $1 million for us in 2026. The game that they would have canceled is the game that would have been a home game for us. So we would have not gotten a home game against them. We would have had to go to Athens in 2027, and then we would have had to have paid off one of the other non-conference games that we have scheduled for that year because we're going to a 9-game league slate. So when all said and done,
let's make $1 million.
Yeah, let's say we had to pay Villanova. I don't know what we would have had to have paid because you typically have to pay the bad teams more than you pay the good teams for these. Georgia has, I think, a MAC school scheduled for 2027. They paid us $1 million to get out of that game, or would have had to have paid us $1 million to get out of that game. They have to pay that MAC school $2 million if they want to get out of that game. I don't think that we have those types of buy games. But if you're just assuming we have to pay Villanova $750K, at the end of the day, you're making $250K from this deal. I mean, if we had to pay them more, then we're losing money when all's said and done. I don't know the exact details there, but that apparently is the way that it got laid down, because Georgia was basically like, we're trying to make money too. If you want us to buy you out of both games, well, we'll buy you out of one, and then we'll play the second one, which is on our home field without a return game. And I think Josh Hurd looked at that and was like, well, this seems like a kind of a crappy deal. Let's go ahead and, I guess, and save ourselves some money and just not play. It's a crappy thing, the way that this whole thing went down. I hate it. I hate that they're not on the schedule. Let me ask both of you guys, though, could it be redeemed? There's all this talk about an attractive non-conference opponent coming up in 2026. Is there somebody out there that could make you feel better about this whole thing going down the way that it did?
A team in the playoff right now?
Maybe.
Honestly, I'm going to say no. Especially because it sounds like he said it's probably going to be a neutral site game.
Yeah.
I feel like that by itself, I don't care who it is, kind of ruins it for me.
So if you're looking at power conference teams outside the ACC that have an opening right now, we're talking LSU, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, USC. Who do we want out of that quartet on a neutral?
Ole Miss.
Texas A&M. But we're already going to have our home-to-home with them is still...
We're on with A&M for right now.
Okay, so
in 28-29.
Then for right now, I'd say LSU.
I say LSU too. A&M, we've got the future scheduled games against them. We also played them before. We played them in Music City Bowl. We played Ole Miss a few years ago. We played USC in the Holiday Bowl. Didn't go great 2 years ago. LSU, I guess we played them when Lamar was here in a bowl game. But neutral site early in the season is different. And LSU's kind of like, they've made a habit of playing those types of games early in the year. They played Clemson the last 2 years. They played Florida State a few years ago. Like, they seem to be the most likely out of that. I know people were pointing to Cincinnati. I don't even want Cincinnati in the schedule. I don't want to. We've got the keg. They've got Satterfield. We feel like we won the trade. I don't want to have anything that could potentially ruin that. I don't need Cincinnati on the football schedule. Basketball, cool, love it, bring it back. I don't need to play Cincinnati every year in football. I feel like that's more. We have more to lose than we do to gain in that type. I know that they're technically a power. I still don't see Cincinnati as a power conference program. But one of these four, I would love to see on the schedule for next year. I'm with Matt, though. I hate the fact that we're not getting a home game out of this, because when's the last time we had a really big marquee non-con home game?
I don't know. I'm trying to think about it right now. It really ruins it for me because, I mean, you guys know, I've told you guys this, that me and my family, we take a road game every single year. And we already had it. We didn't literally have it booked yet and paid for, but we were going to go to Athens. And I was super excited. Now, I know that they're going to be barking at me and there are going to be some really weird people there, but I'm getting
still fun.
I'm getting to watch my favorite football team play in a historic SEC program with a chance to possibly win. You know, you never know. You have a lot of opportunity there, but not just the away game, but you get a home game with one of the best college football programs in the country, if not the best. You get to play them here. I imagine that game is an easy sellout. People have been waiting for that game since it got announced, 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2021, I think.
The neutral site game just upsets me.
By the way, I guess technically Notre Dame 2 years ago.
I was going to say
was a
that.
big home.
Yeah.
I mean, they
that's in conference.
Are they conference or not?
That's in conference.
Get out of my face with this. Roman, where are you at with this? I know you were pretty angry.
I go both ways because I've been excited. I've been excited for the opportunity for a team like this to come onto your home field. We know what Jeff Brom's been prone to in these kinds of games. In his career, he's going to have an exciting matchup for us. I also just know that, are we going to be prepared to see a Georgia team in 2026? I don't know how things are going to shape up roster-wise for us. What's our quarterback? Who's our quarterback going to be? Those kind of question marks kind of make me feel like,
I hadn't even thought about that, but it's a fair point.
Taking away not a guaranteed loss, but a game that definitely wasn't a guaranteed win for what could be a game that you're a lot more likely to win when you're maybe in a gap year at that position. I'm okay with it.
If we're playing devil's advocate,
I always do that in these situations, unfortunately.
Sure, it's radio. You know, if we're going to play devil's advocate, and maybe it doesn't matter because we're going to play a team that's of Georgia's caliber in a non-conference setting coming up. But we talked about this on the show this year. There is increased risk now in playing these marquee games in September against teams that have the potential to kind of hammer you a little bit. Because all of a sudden now, if you get beat down on a neutral field by a really good team from a different conference, I think you run the risk. Agents start getting in these kids, like, you can't win a national title here. You're not going to go to the playoff. This team's not playoff good. Start thinking about your options. We've seen teams have their seasons completely derailed after an early season loss in ways that we haven't seen. I mean, think about Clemson a couple years ago. We felt like Clemson this year, they lose that game to LSU. Everything kind of unraveled from that point forward. Florida State, a lot of people said the same thing about their early losses last season in September when they played those types of games. It's certainly a high risk if you're a program that maybe has some kids that aren't fully bought in, and I'm hopeful that that's not going to be the case next season. But there is that out there, and maybe you've got a better shot of beating a USC or beating an LSU or beating somebody on a neutral field than you do Georgia, who's kind of been outside of Ohio State, I'd say like the program of the last 5 years in college football, and you expect to be just as good next season. So it feels like a loser's mentality. I mean, we're just talking about facts. Like, I still want the game. I want that shot, and this is why you pay Jeff Brom the big bucks to say if you have adversity early in the season, we're not going to fall apart. We're going to keep working. We're going to focus on the fact that we can win the ACC and go to the college football playoff. But I guess maybe that would be a concern. I don't think this is at all a part of the negotiation process or Josh Hurt's thinking, but it is something that's out there. At the end of the day, I blame Georgia. I'm choosing to blame Georgia. They still could have played the games. Cancel somebody else. Cancel one of, whoever they're, who else do they have on the docket for next year?
I think it hurt more because they just inevitably scheduled a 13th game before they canceled this one.
So you knew it was coming.
You just knew it was going to happen. The logistics just weren't finished yet. So it was like, so we knew this was going to happen a month ago.
So they had for next season, this is what rubs me the wrong way. 2027, I get it. If it's you already had Florida State locked in to open your season on the road, true road game. You're at Georgia Tech. You don't want that third game, I guess, to be us because it's a gauntlet at that point.
Could you imagine if they lost to 3 ACC teams in the same season?
It'd be wonderful. But you don't want that either. And then they won the SEC. Pull like a full
undefeated.
Yeah, yeah. They just
get a bye in the playoffs.
Beat everybody in the SEC by 1 billion points, but are 0-3 against the ACC. So next year, you mentioned they agreed to the game with Tennessee State. Their other two non-con games, Georgia Tech and Western Kentucky. I love what Brent Key's doing at Georgia Tech. I know that they've pushed Georgia each of the last 2 years. I know that's a rivalry game. But let's be real. Like that's not Alabama on the schedule. That's not Ohio State that you're playing every single year out there. That's a program that you should, on a year-to-year basis, probably beat more times than not. Western Kentucky, it's a group of 5 program. Did you really need to take us out and plug Tennessee State in? You could have played this game. The other 2 are at home. You could play one non-con road game against us and then, buy out the Florida State game in 2027.
I'm just not understanding which games they feel threatened by. Like, I think that's where it confuses me the most. Because like you said, yes, Georgia Tech is a rivalry game. But if we're talking about recency bias, Georgia Tech has looked better than we have. So, like, if you're getting rid of the Louisville game because I'll hand it to Georgia, we have a lot more opportunity in that game than they do. They have a lot more to lose. We have a lot more to win, obviously. Sure. But if I'm looking at, hey, this is the SEC, all of our out-of-conference just wants to be kind of crap because we just need to win our games SEC and we're good, I don't see why you're keeping either of them. If you're going to get rid of one of them, why not get rid of both of them and then just basically guarantee your out-of-conference slate be 100%, and then you can focus on the SEC slate. What's the point of keeping one and not the other? I don't know.
Here's the one thing about the press release that was put out there that I just it did kind of rub me the wrong way. Was this whole, like, we're working on playing them on a neutral field in 2030. They canceled on us 3 times now already in the last 2 decades. They ain't playing that game either.
2030, I'll have kids. They'll get to watch Georgia and Louisville play.
This is how I felt when we initially scheduled the Georgia game. I'm like, 2026, not even a real year.
Already been stood up twice. I mean,
I say we just don't play Georgia at this point. I'm done with Georgia.
Call Alabama.
Get. Well, we already played them in 2018, and they kind of tanked the entire season. Auburn beat us. Ole Miss beat. Get Tennessee on the damn horn. Let's go. We've beaten them before.
I would actually love to play Tennessee.
I was like you guys. I was excited about getting them on your home field is cool, but playing that game in Athens, even if it doesn't go well, because that's the type of game where if you go to Georgia and you lose early in the year, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to crush you. If you can bounce, if you can learn the right things, take the right things away from that experience, and wind up being a team that goes 7-1 or 8-0 in the ACC, you're still right in the mix of the playoff. Like, you take care of your own business, you can be okay. And just seeing us play on that field, I think would have been a cool experience. And for a lot of fans, making that trip would have been a very cool experience. But this is the way that it's going to go. We've got 9 games in the ACC starting that year anyway, so whatever.
How many of those are going to be in Brazil for us?
We can't play in Brazil.
All the NC State alum that live in Brazil are going to have a ball at that football game.
Speaking of traveling, did you see the pic? I mean, not even a joke. Did you see Marcus Freeman's Instagram story?
No.
He just took a picture of like plane wings, and it said Cancun, Mexico. Like,
oh my!
Literally, I don't know if he's playing into it or not, but he's legit. Because one of these Notre Dame accounts was like, "We haven't heard from Marcus Freeman in a couple days. I'm sure he's sitting in his office right now plotting the destruction of every team on the schedule in 2026." And someone's like, "Dude, he's flying to Cancun right now.
He's drinking a margarita.
He's absolutely hammered. Maybe taking NFL deals at this point in time." He's out of here. He's done. He doesn't care at all about the 2026 season.
I love the side plot that Marcus Freeman just hasn't had internet for the past 3 days, so he doesn't even know that this is going on. He's just enjoying vacation.
Just hanging out. Just drinking on the beach, whatever. So Louisville, Georgia, not going to happen. It sucks. Hopefully.
I'm scared.
Now, here's the thing, and I said this when the whole SEC news first broke. Texas A&M does not have the same rationale to cancel the schedule to cancel this series with us. Maybe they end up getting to that point, but they don't have a built-in. Their primary rival is Texas, who now is a conference brethren. They play them every single season. They don't have the type of built-in non-con games to justify not playing us. To be more, they've only got one game scheduled besides us in their non-con in 28 or 29. We're set to open the season against them in both 28 and 29. The 2028 game is going to be in College Station. The 2029 game is going to be on September 1st in Louisville. The only other team that they have penciled in right now to play in either one of those seasons is a home game against Abilene Christian from the FCS in 2028. So, like, if they want to run from Louisville, it's strictly just to run from Louisville. There's no, we got to, this whole thing kind of screwed with us, and we had this game and we had that game. No, like, you're just buying out because you don't want to play Louisville, and I can't imagine that they want to duck that smoke. I can't like, they shouldn't be scared of us. They're in the playoff right now. We're sitting at 8-4, getting ready for Toledo in the Boca Raton Bowl. If you're Texas A&M, you should think like we should take care of Louisville. Like, that's a good non-conference game for us.
Especially their program that, I mean, yeah, they're in the SEC, but they've had similar success in football that we have. They haven't done anything of serious notability since Johnny Manziel, and that didn't
even then. It was like, cool, you
had the high
9-3.
Yeah, like it
was on your Cotton Bowl win.
They've still always been like a middle of the table SEC team, sometimes lower end of the table, and they've had some resurgence recently. Congrats to them, but it would be one where, okay, you're ducking the smoke of this game and you haven't even earned it yet.
Yeah, exactly. Now they've got a non-conference home and home set with Arizona State these next 2 seasons, which to my knowledge they've not bought out of. They've actually got an open day on their schedule next year. You guys want to bump this thing up a little bit? But they will play Arizona State at home next season, then go to Tempe in 2027. So besides that, like they're pretty open.
They should play us.
I'm not saying that you guys should absolutely pencil in your trips to College Station in 2028, but they don't have a valid excuse to buy out. Not that Georgia's excuse was overly valid, but it was more understandable than what A&M would be working with if they tried to say thanks but no thanks. So we'll see if we get this news on the added opponent for next season before we get off the air. Hopefully it's the case and it can be exciting and we can react to it. But it's a bummer, man. Even if you saw it coming, it's still a bummer that we're not going to get these games against Georgia, and we're not going to get financial compensation out of it. So, any way you slice it, not a great day. But we move on. Game Day Men's Health text line, I'm sure we'll move on. 502-414-1450 is the number. Questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got, we'll take it after the break. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450-96.1, Big X Sports Radio. It's hour number 2 of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, Louisville's newest construction management company, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. United Mechanical, by the way, they are Louisville's MVP for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Give them a call any hour, any day at 502-339-1133. You can also visit them online at UnitedMechanicalInc.com. Just in the inbox here, Bookies.com, odds on the next college basketball head coach to be fired. Do either of you have a guess? Hint, it's an ACC coach.
Gosh, I really don't. Syracuse?
No.
It's not Will Wade, obviously.
Earl Grant.
Earl Grant at Boston College is the correct answer, who, by the way, was like, I don't know what he was doing last night, but he was like calling out his fan base on Twitter.
There's like 10 people that show up?
He was basically saying, like, if you're not at Conti every single game, I don't want to hear from you, which is maybe not the best thing to say to a fan base that's getting like 700 people in the building for games right now. But he was like, if you're not at, his exact tweet, if you're not at every game at Conti, I don't want to hear from you. And then just said, keep coming. And then tweeted the same thing out. If you're not at every home game at Conti, I don't want to hear from you.
Honestly, I kind of am backing him on this because, I mean, it's $17 for floor seats. I don't care if we're 0-11. I go for $17.
Maybe not the right thing to do, though, when you're like 4-5 in the ACC. And then he tried to act like it wasn't happening, and then just tweeted out like AJ DeBanza, one of them ones.
Cover it up.
And everybody was just like,
he just floods his profile with retweets. You can't see it no more.
So somebody said, why isn't he playing for his hometown school? If you're not at every home game at Conti, I don't want to hear from you. What the hell is the point of this tweet, bro? If you're not at every home game at Conti, I don't want to hear from you. The only thing he said differently was, Earl, you're a great guy, but as you know, the fan base is extremely disappointed with the on-court product and lack of improvement year after year. We understand the administration isn't doing you any favors, but many losses are a result of poor coaching. Rooting for you to succeed. Let's go. And he just said, keep coming.
I will say, please tell me he just posted the same tweet again.
Keep coming.
I need him to reply to that with a picture of him and Marcus Freeman drinking daiquiris at Cancun.
He's just responding to these guys, keep fighting. Keep coming. Keep coming. I'm literally at every game. It hurts, man. Keep coming.
It hurts. Just kill me already.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's responding to everybody here with just either keep coming or if you're not at Conti every game, I don't want to hear from you. This man's, I mean, he's going to get fired. So he's got the best odds to be the next fired coach at plus 350. Second on the list, Mark Pope.
Ooh.
Mark Pope for Kentucky is plus 450.
Their season's over, so I'm not surprised at that.
He is.
This is what's about to happen with them.
Okay.
They're going to lose to Indiana. They're going to lose a couple more big games this year. Not going to make the tournament, of course. Fire him. Do this same exact thing with another coach. And then the program's going to slowly start to sink. The expectation's going to change. They're not going to get the recruits. They're headed for turmoil.
You think this is the beginning of the end of Kentucky
This is the beginning
basketball?
of the end. We started it.
They fall into a perpetual cycle of just hiring and firing and getting the wrong guy year after year after. My dream is that they suck for the next like 20 years, and every single year it's with the highest paid team in college basketball, where it's like Kentucky's roster, $103 million roster, and they go 19-13 and narrowly miss the NCAA tournament with head coach Josh Pastner.
When they bring back Brandon Garrison for his 8th year.
Who's the worst former Kentucky? Head coach DeMarcus Cousins limps to a 7-25 season despite having a $625 million roster in 2041.
He's running down to like the other coach's bench, grabbing his nuts while he's down 25.
Head coach Drew Franklin really on the hot seat this year. They've gone with Fan. They let KSR run the program, and it's not going great. They've won 12 games, better than Cousins, but they're looking at firing their head coach. By the way, the rest of that list, as far as the odds for the next college basketball coach to be fired, Steve Peichel from Rutgers is 3rd. Adrian Autry from Syracuse is 4th. Wes Miller. I mean, are we the agent of death this season? We're gonna get Earl Grant fired, Mark Pope fired, maybe Red Autry fired, although I think he's pretty safe. Wes Miller gone.
We've already broken that curse. We beat Indiana, and they had their best game they've had in the past 4 years.
True, yeah. Maybe we made one team better this season in the non-conference slate. Everybody else has gotten worse after they've played us. It's fine. Game Day Men's Health text line is 502-414-1450. That is the place to air your grievances, your comments, your concerns. Game Day Men's Health is the place to go if you have needs in the area of peptides, sexual performance therapy, weight loss, or much more. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com and find out how they're redefining men's wellness. Boxcar Bob is our first texter today and said, as much as Clemson not blowing a 22-point lead and losing on a last-second shot to BYU would have been good for the conference, I can't help but think how much worse UK fans feel about having Pope with BYU having as much success as they have since he left. It's a fair point. Now, granted, they weren't getting A.J. DeBonsas when Mark Pope was coaching BYU. They weren't bringing in Rob Wrights when Mark Pope was coaching BYU. But, yeah, if you're looking right now at which of the two programs is kind of the stronger, BYU seems to be in a better place than Kentucky. And, I mean, I was all ready to write when they were getting their ass kicked by Clemson last night. I was like, ooh, quick and easy post. Two highest payrolls in college basketball, not having great times through the first month plus of the season. And they ended up getting, I think, their best win of the season so far. But, yeah, they've been better than Kentucky so far this year. They weren't as what seed were they in the tournament last year? They weren't a 3 because Kentucky was a 3.
They're 5?
I want to say they were a 5 last season, something along those lines, and ended up winning 2 games. I know they went to the Sweet 16. They were a 6 seed.
Okay.
Beat VCU, beat Wisconsin, and then got beat pretty badly by Alabama in the Sweet 16. So they had a worse year than Mark Pope in his first season at Kentucky, but regressing and progressing. One's progressing, one's regressing. So they win.
Maybe if we like play in the same conference, we can beat them twice in 1 year, and then they'll just tank.
That'd be wonderful. Rominator says, going back to yesterday's conversation of gifts for journalists and bloggers, I thought of a good one. A year-long subscription to Hogs Plus. I don't need your Hogs Plus subscription. Never happening. Texture says, is there any chance the ACC told us to drop the game with Georgia because they were wanting to schedule a game for us against a primetime ACC opponent like Miami?
Doubt it.
No. Does not seem to be the case. Texter says 93.9 is a bunch of shameless Josh Hurd chills. Miss me with the trust me, bro, there's something better than a top 5 national brand home and home series per my sources nonsense. I mean, I think everyone's heard the same thing at this point, that there's an exciting game looming to fill the void left behind by Georgia next season. I'm not going to say that is better than a home and home with Georgia. Home and homes are cool. Like, neutral site games have their place. It's fun to it takes on sort of an early season bowl game feel where you go down to Orlando and you play.
Kind of lame though.
But what's better than playing Georgia's a top 5 brand in the sport. What's better than playing them on your home field? What's better than getting a chance to go down there and play them in Athens? You know that the Notre Dame games that we've been able to play over the past 11 years, would those have felt as special if we were playing them in Lucas Oil in Indianapolis? No. You want the home and homes. Home and homes are, I hate that college basketball has as many neutral site games as they do, because on-campus environments are the best thing about college sports. And even if you're playing away, there's something to be said about going into enemy territory and trying to make 110,000 people go back to their homes feeling all upset. So, yeah, I'm not calling out the 93.9 people. I think that they know the same things that are kind of going around about it still being an exciting game for the 2026 schedule, but I'm also not going to say that I think it's better than what we had in place with Georgia.
For me, it needs to be like a perfect storm. It needs to be like a really good team that's on par with Georgia or maybe a little bit lower than them, like an LSU or something like that. And the neutral site needs to be somewhere that easily to travel to.
Frankfurt.
Like Lucas Oil, like you said, or something like that. Like somewhere where we're getting the home environment. We can't be playing like they mentioned that possibly in 2030 we'll revitalize it and have a neutral site. I don't want to play Georgia and Atlanta.
Yeah, or LSU in New Orleans.
Yeah, please don't.
We don't need to play the Superdome against LSU. That would be. I mean, I love New Orleans. A lot of fun. I want at least a chance to make it as close to a 50-50 split for this game as possible. Texture says, oh, God, Riddler's here. Here we go. It is I, the Riddler. Josh, turn the radio off if you're listening. The subject of this riddle, you suck. I awoke this morning to news that made me say, I can't say that word. I wasn't surprised. Unfortunately, I called this with no luck. Our AD is a loser, a visionless. I can't say that word either. Mike, you made a promise when this topic arose. Now use your voice publicly using a microphone. Say it with me so you can hear. Riddler for AD. Josh Hurd gone by the end of this year. Riddler was so mad that he had to go back to his riddling roots to say that. He couldn't just be like, Josh Hurd sucks. I hate that this is happening. He had to go on. He had to go full riddle. I mean, we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah. Texter says, I think some of the reaction is a bit much about Hurd not pushing for buyout money in the Georgia cancellation. We had to clear the way for a 9th ACC game next year. Well, keep in mind, we don't play 9 ACC games next year. The SEC goes to 9 games next season. We don't go to 9 games until 2027. So your point about having to buy out Charlotte or Villanova is not technically correct. But we would have, if we played them in 2027, we would have had to have bought out of one of the other currently 3 games on the non-conference slate. A lot of logistics to possibly come out a few $100,000 ahead. My only ask now is that next season Hurd works with the ACC on prioritizing not having a bye week in the first month of the season because it's a week that's been needed later in the season. Yeah, we've gotten kind of screwed with that 2 years in a row. I mean, your overall point is correct, though. When it comes down to the financials, the way that it's been explained to me is we would have gotten $1 million for one of the games. Georgia would have made us, I guess, go to Athens and play that game in 2027, and then we would have had to have bought out one of the other programs that we already had on the schedule, which would have cost us a significant chunk of change. My question would be, like, and I don't know what the solution is here, but couldn't you just be like, well no. You can't just buy out of one.
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
And you can't buy out of the one where you're playing us on our home field.
Our schedule's set.
Like, let's play the 2027 game, but let's play it in Louisville. And I guess you can't really do that because you got scheduled. But I guess I'm saying that Josh Hurd should have just fist fought the Georgia AD. That's the only way to go about this.
We just had celebrity death match, and whoever wins just gets both games.
One enters, one leaves. The one who leaves gets the home game in 2027. The other one has to pay.
Which Josh wins?
Only one Josh can survive this series. Let's go. Texter says, Drew Diener had a meltdown over Mike getting credit for a Jeff Brom quote on the Georgia press release about the games being canceled. I got credit for a Jeff Brom quote on the Georgia press release?
There you go.
Well, I don't deserve that if that's what happened.
Getting big time now.
I saw the story that there was a story in like one of the like papers of note in Athens that, I mean, all I had done was taken the quote from the Jeff Brom radio show, which, by the way, airs on our station as well, 970 WGTK, and put it on a story about, is Georgia going to cancel? And I saw that somebody took that quote and said, Brom said on his radio show via Card Chronicle, and that was it. That wasn't an official Georgia press release. But, yeah, I can't imagine why Georgia would use that. Like, why would they use that quote in their official press release about Jeff Brom really wanted to play this game and was worried that we were canceling it, said Mike Rutherford.
Coach Rutherford here.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that would be an error in judgment. I'm looking at the official. No, the Georgia press release has 3 lines in it and just says, you know, we've mutually agreed to cancel. The teams look to play each other in a neutral site game on a later date. Additionally, Georgia and NC State have agreed to cancel their home-and-home series for the 2033-34 seasons. That's it. I don't know why Drew would have gotten mad about that. I mean, who knows? Texter says, Evan Mayakawa posted this graph showing which players have the highest overall value in the nation from both an offensive and defensive standpoint. Only the players near the top of the chart are named. 2 Cardinals made the list, Ryan Conwell and Adrian Woolley.
There's a 3rd Cardinal on there. I just can't see the name.
There's like
yeah,
4.
There's a bunch.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6.
Oh, they make it outside of the.
Yeah, they only name a couple of them.
He says, I would love to know how many bench players are rated as highly as him, and he hasn't even reached his full potential. That's kind of wild to see. I mean, he's listed
right there
as
by
like
JT Toppin.
Yeah, he's listed as sort of like an elite caliber player.
I kind of like it.
It does. You know, he's got one of those can't put my finger on it qualities, but things just seem like they happen when he's out there on the floor. And I know that his offensive game hasn't evolved quite as much as we're hoping it's going to by the time we get to March. But he does he makes bleep happen. That's the best way to put Adrian Woolley. He attacks the glass. He has been a rebounding machine. He's a very good defender. Yeah, he's right in between. Like we mentioned, Thomas Houck, who I think Dan Hurley said today deserves to be a first-team All-American if the season ended today. He's right by him and Milo Suzanne and Kingston Fleming's the 2 fantastic guards for Houston, and in the same category as like Henry Visar from from North Carolina, Zubi Ejiofor, all-conference player at St. John's, Manuel Sharp, another great guard from Houston, Malik Renault. That's the category that Wooley's in when it comes to this thing with defensive rating and offensive rating combined.
Conwell down there with Fletcher Lawyer. We don't like to see that on the defensive side.
That's a shot. It feels like a direct shot at you.
But it does have him as one of the offensive aces.
It does.
It does. He's right there with Bennett Sturts is in that same category. Darian Williams, the preseason ACC Player of the Year. Christian Anderson has been really good for Texas Tech. Trey Kaufman-Renn. Oh, they just want Roman to get mad about this graphic.
Gotta put Braden in a little box by himself there. Like a
Roman just circles him and puts like pansy next to it.
You're telling me Braden Smith on par defender with Adrian Woolley? Get out of here.
By the way, the elite tier, you got two players that are kind of in a world of their own up there with Yaxel and Cam Boozer, who I do think that as of right now are the two best players in college basketball. Braden Smith is kind of on his own too, but he's in the All-American caliber rating. This is a good graph. Shout out to Evan. Scootator says, do you think anyone has ever been in Clemson's position last night at the end, tied with less than 10 seconds left, and fouled the other team after the other team inbounds the ball to let them shoot free throws, and then you theoretically get the last shot? Yes! This has been a thing. You know who did this?
You've seen it tied?
Yes. You know who did this a few years ago? Todd Golden, when he was at San Francisco. They do this nerd math thing where they will foul they'll foul with a lead late in games. If there's
I've seen that.
They did it with, they were playing BYU, and they had this, it was like the last possession. They were holding for the last shot in a tie game, and BYU had a like 38% free throw shooter who was a really good player but terrible free throw shooter, and they went out there. They weren't in the double bonus yet. They were in the 1-and-1, and they were like, all right, it's a 38% chance that he makes this. This first one, if he doesn't, we get the ball, we get the last shot. We're scoring at a 1.11 points per possession clip. It's more likely than not that we're going to get something out of this. And if not, we still feel like we have a good shot to play for overtime. And they were like, we get that it's a risk because if it goes poorly, the rest of the college basketball world, including our fan base, are saying, what the hell? How do you take the ball and give them a free unguarded shot to take a lead with 11 seconds to go in a game? They did it. It worked out. They ended up winning the game, and they did certain things like that a couple times. Kyle Smith, who now is the coach at Washington, where did he go from Washington State after that? He's in the ACCs at Stanford. He was the coach at San Francisco before Golden got that job, and he did a lot of the same stuff. I don't know if it's spread as much to the rest of the country, but it is a thing that the highly analytical programs look at doing. So it has happened before, to answer your question, but it's certainly not the norm.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen in a tie.
You're not up 3. You don't need to be fouling.
Clemson probably would have been better served fouling last night.
Probably.
Texas says Dusty May is coaching the number 2 team in the nation right now, and nobody in the city of Louisville has hardly even noticed because so far PK looks like just as good of a coach. Imagine the chatter if we were just average or worse. I've noticed. Here's the thing, though. I was having a conversation with about this with someone over the weekend. The issue with Dusty May and Louisville, and I don't even want to say issue, but it was never about his basketball acumen. He clearly, everybody talks about him in terms of being one of the best and brightest and new offensive minds in college basketball. He's got a very deep playbook. He knows how to coach. The issue was the personality fit. And throughout the coaching hire process, this is why when everybody was telling you, hey, it's Dusty May, don't worry about when it's going to happen. He's the guy. It's a done deal. I was the one person. I go on the podcast. I tweeted out. I was like, guys, I don't think Dusty May's taking this job, because what I'd heard from college basketball folks out there was he doesn't want to be at a program where basketball is the focus 365 days a year. He likes the ability to fly a little bit under the radar, piece together his roster without having every move overly criticized. He doesn't like the idea of not being able to go out to a restaurant and without being stopped for pictures and all this stuff. His wife really doesn't like that idea, and he's a big family man. So while he's having, I think Michigan's the perfect place for Dusty May. And I think Louisville's the perfect place for a guy like Pat Kelsey. I think if you flipped them right now, and I don't know this for certain, But there's certainly a world where all the peripheral stuff, all of the minutia of taking the job at Louisville just weighs on Dusty May and keeps him from being able to do his job the same way that he's been doing it at Michigan. And I think that there's a world where Pat Kelsey's got the job at Michigan and not being the center of that world 12 months a year, every year, it has Pat Kelsey a little bit pissed off, and he's trying to hype the students up so much that it ends up being a little bit detrimental to his job. I think both those guys are in the perfect spots for them.
I agree. I don't think Dusty May would respond well to the adversity that maybe he would have saw in that first year. I mean, when the injuries go down, he doesn't change his game plan at all. It kind of just chalks it up to not having the guys out there versus losing sleep over it every night on trying to find ways to get open looks for Rain Smith in the ACC tournament, whatever it may be. Pat Kelsey eats, sleeps, breathes basketball, and he wants the fan base to do the same thing. Dusty May, like you just said, he wants to go where he gets the most NIL as possible, and they care the least about what he's doing.
I just, if I think Pat Kelsey gets that any time we lose here, there's going to be a lot of outside noise. And I think he's okay with that. I mean, I think it's not ideal for anybody. But I think he's pretty good at putting the blinders on and making sure that his team avoids that. I mean, look, we lost to Arkansas last Wednesday, and you would have thought the world was ending based on the text line. I don't. People weren't talking in those terms, but when the Louisville men's basketball team loses, everybody has a thought on why it happened and what went wrong and what needs to be fixed. And I think Pat Kelsey just kind of, he understands that. I mean, Rick Pitino had to deal with it for a long time. I think they both have that same sort of like, I get that people are upset. I like that people are upset. I'm not going to listen to any of you all, but I enjoy the passion. I don't think Dusty May would have handled that well. I think that was sort of what he wanted to avoid. Yeah. He's doing well up there. We're doing fine down here. Texter's right, though. Imagine a world where Dusty May is cooking at Michigan, and we're like 4-5 right now. People would be upset. You want to talk about like people getting mad at Josh Hurd for the Georgia scheduling thing? That would be like nobody would even care about that at this point. They would just be wanting him fired because of the basketball.
I also feel like Michigan's playing. I mean, they're playing the best basketball in the country right now. I feel like they're flying a little too high, too close to the sun.
You think so?
I feel like there's an inevitable come to the earth, come to Jesus moment.
There it is. That's what I like to hear, Matt.
Michigan coming down here soon.
I'm with you.
They can't keep this up. I just like statistically, it's just not possible.
Everybody by like 50, except for Wake Forest, who had them beat. When's the next time Michigan's going to get pushed? I was going to write
the
a thing.
Next ACC opponent.
I mean, they're pretty safe for a while. You look at they don't play anybody else good in the non-con. They play Maryland on Saturday. Maryland's not very good. LaSalle and McNeese are their other two non-con games. They start Big Ten play with USC, Penn State, Wisconsin, Washington, Oregon. And their next game against a top 25 KenPom team is Indiana on January 20th at home.
I'm going to make a hot take and say Wisconsin pushes them to the brink.
I would agree if it was in Cole Fieldhouse. It's in Ann Arbor. I don't know if that's going to happen.
That does kind of weigh my opinion a little bit.
I mean, they may not lose until they play at Michigan State at the end of January. Michigan could be undefeated going into February. They probably won't be. Law of averages says so. But they have they won't play a more difficult stretch than they had when they had SDSU, Auburn, and Gonzaga back-to-back-to-back, and they won all three of those games by 30 points or more. They look awfully good right now. But long season. Some teams look like juggernauts. Sometimes they don't. Tracy, Mike, tell us who the non-con is. I think we're going to find out, like, very soon. I think we're going to know who it is.
It's a heated rivalry matchup in Nashville against Kent State.
I was going to say, like, what if that? I think we'll know who it is during the next segment. But imagine if it's like, we were all like, okay, LSU, USC, or A&M, and they're like, we got a big one for you, boys. Iowa State.
We've elevated Bellarmine to D1 FBS ball.
We're playing Iowa State in Kansas City. Let's go. And everybody's like, I mean, no. What the hell is that? You guys, could I interest you in a little Northwestern football in Chicago? No. What is this?
Not to mention, it's a game that's like in late November, early December, so it's freezing cold.
November 16th. Yukon. Stores, Connecticut.
Non-con game against Virginia Tech.
Rivalry resumed. It's like, please stop.
In Norway.
Why is Josh doing the voiceover for this? Let's take a break. When we come back, hey, maybe we'll have that news. If not, we'll get back to you guys in the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. It's the Mike Rutherford Show here on 1450 The Big X. The 4 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Programming note, we will be live at 5 Iron Golf tomorrow. We are going to the new location on 4th Street. It's kind of gone, we flip-flopped back and forth. It was going to be 4th Street, then it was going to be Nulu. Now we're back to 4th Street. Excited to be out there and celebrating with the 5 Iron Golf guys. They've got a bunch of specials that you can pick up as far as Christmas presents are concerned, subscription options, gift cards, all sorts of things that we'll talk about out there. It's always a good time. Roman will get out there, swing the sticks. Are you being in your clubs again tomorrow, Roman?
Oh, I'll be at the Louisville College of Business Studios. We're letting Matt get out there this time since I did the last one.
We'll let Matt bring the clubs. Bring your sticks. I think I got mine in. Mine are always in the trunk. I can't. They're either in the trunk or the garage, and I can never figure out which one they are. They might be in the trunk right now. I may have those. So we'll get out there. Maybe we'll swing some clubs, hit some balls, have some good times. But it's always a fantastic adventure at 5 Iron Golf Louisville. Happy to be out there tomorrow doing some radio from 2:30 to 5:30. My entire timeline is just people pissed off. It's just I've got U of L fans upset about this deal. I've got Reds fans furious that Nick Kroll is now hyping up Blake Dunn as like, hey, guys, it's okay that we didn't get Schwarber. Pete Alonso's going to the Orioles. Blake Dunn's getting a lot better. He could be a center fielder for us in a couple of years. Everyone's like, I want this guy dead. Nobody's happy right now. Nobody's happy right now. Okay, the news has broken. 4 o'clock. I told you it was going to happen. It's official now. We're going to Nashville. Labor Day weekend to play the Ole Miss Rebels. Matt's mic's off.
Wrong one.
Hello?
Sorry.
Oh. It's not awful, I guess. It's not awful. It's almost like I feel like you showed up to the Thanksgiving dinner late and you kind of got like the cold leftovers that you got to reheat. Like, yeah, you don't mind like I love leftovers. I don't mind reheating it, but you
there's only dark meat left from the turkey.
I wanted it fresh.
Okay, yeah.
I wanted it the first time it was served.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but okay.
I like it.
It's
Nashville.
It is Nashville. It'll be an Ole Miss team that is under new leadership. Who knows how that's going to work out? Who knows who's going to stay and who's going to go? Hell, I mean, they could be the reigning national champions at this point. You never know
or
how
they could look like UNC.
Or they could look like a team that's fallen off and is going to be terrible. Now, we did play them. This is going to be on Labor Day weekend. We don't know if it's going to be September 5th or September 6th. We played them on actual Labor Day back in 2021 in Atlanta and got smoked. That was bad. It was like my first week doing the radio show, and I just remember coming in and being like, "Well, we got to do the show on Labor Day, and it's gonna suck." Like we're pissed off. So that's a little bit of a bad memory, a little bit of a stinging memory. Like I said, this doesn't do as much for me as the Georgia series. I'm not gonna act like it does, but we still have a marquee non-conference opponent on the schedule for next season, which is something that we haven't had the last couple of years outside of Notre Dame, who's non-conference, whatever. Josh Hurd has a statement on this. He says, we're excited to partner with Ole Miss, ESPN, and the Nashville Sports Council to bring this season-opening matchup to Nashville. This contest presents a tremendous opportunity for our program, our student-athletes, and our fans. Nashville is home to a strong Cardinals presence, and showcasing Louisville football in a premier venue on a national stage is something we wholeheartedly embrace. Hurd added, Jeff Brom has never shied away from playing a challenging non-conference schedule and is always willing to face anyone in the country. His approach reflects the competitive spirit that we want at Louisville, embracing opportunities to compete against elite programs and preparing our football team for the highest level of competition. That mindset not only strengthens our program but also excites our fan base and elevates the national profile of Louisville football.
Okay.
Is this game being played at the new Titan Stadium?
It will be played Nissan Stadium.
So the old one.
The old one.
Great. Couldn't you get that worked out?
It's not ideal, okay? It's not the worst thing in the world.
We got the hand-me-down SEC game. We get the hand-me-down neutral site game, and it's the hand-me-down stadium.
As the SEC
we're also
team,
not allowed to go to Broad Street, to Broadway. We're not allowed to party there. You got to party at one of the other locations in Nashville. That's the way that it works.
Out of the SEC teams that were available to play, though, don't you guys feel like new leadership Ole Miss is your best opportunity to win?
Yes, I do. And I also do like the fact that, we tried to get them on the schedule last year, and Lane Kiffin was like, no, we don't want that. So we can now accurately call Lane Kiffin a full-on coward. He didn't want to play us at Ole Miss. He was clearly the reason that was holding them back because they, now they're willing to play us. Are they keeping that head coach, or is it TBD? I haven't kept up with that enough to know.
They said it's permanent.
So even if they get pants by Tulane, apparently this Bowling guy is going to be their head coach for next year.
Yeah.
Already saying it's permanent is crazy.
Pete Golding.
I said
right?
Golding, yeah.
They stressed that this dude, it's permanent. So for me, it seems like a kind of a ha-ha, laugh at you, Lane Kiffin, we already got our coach kind of deal. But in reality, it's like, Really? Is that who we're going with?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy. The only thing I saw was him at the team meeting room coming out for the first time when he was officially announced as like the new head coach, and like fist pumping, and then the players all going nuts, and that's cool. But if you go out there and you lose to Tulane when you're a 20-point favorite in the first round of the playoff, and it's a home game in Oxford, maybe you rethink that if you're the AD. I don't know who you can get. It's a crappy situation for Ole Miss. I get it. But I don't hate this setup for us to go out there. You know, we'll see who they're able to get in the portal. More importantly, we'll see who they're able to keep from this year's team. But there have been a lot of these cases over the years where a coach leaves and the returning players sort of strong-arm the AD and the rest of the brass to hire who they want on the staff, and the guy ends up just not being cut out to be a head coach. Remember Bill Stewart at West Virginia when Rich Rod left the first time? He won him the bowl game, and all the players, like, they were on national TV, like, hire this man. And like, you know, the AD at that time was like, okay, well, I mean, I got no choice. He sucked. He was terrible. So maybe we get this new head coach in his first game after going through his first, and he's just not good. And we can pants them on ESPN, get our season off to a great start, and create a narrative that Ole Miss is now not going to be anything without Lane Kiffin.
That's what we want.
That's 3 playoff team wins in 2 seasons.
Maybe more. Maybe we can find more on the schedule for next year. We're just knocking off playoff teams left and right. It's who we are. It's what we do. Just don't, get Cal on the schedule.
The way the ACC looked this year, there's no telling next year.
No, there's no telling. So I think this is good. I think if you weren't viewing it in the light of a replacement for a home-and-home series against Georgia, that we all would be a lot more excited about it. But when it's like, hey, we just took away a home game against Georgia and then a road game against Georgia a year after, and we're playing a game in Nashville against Ole Miss, it's like, oh, yeah, it's fun. But like Matt was saying, it's the food's not fresh.
The dark meat a few days later.
It's good, but it's just.
I will say Nashville is the best possible scenario.
Yeah, if they weren't going to play us at home.
It's going to be like good weather. It's going to be like a fun weekend to go to Nashville. You can watch a fun game, but at the end of the day, it's still. If it was anywhere, I would say if it is anywhere else, I would be like, this is honestly unacceptable.
Yeah, if we were playing Ole Miss in Atlanta again, I would have been pissed off. But they'll have a crowd that we should have a great crowd. Their crowd will travel for that game. Should be a fun weekend. Great way to spend Labor Day. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day men's health text line. Texter says it won't translate to radio, but this is what got Brandon Garrison benched. I don't know if this is meant for us. The turnover and jog back, first half and never went back in. This is what apparently Mark Pope was breaking clipboards and yelling about. I mean, why should you be surprised by this? Garrison stinks and he's got a terrible attitude. He's not good at basketball and he's got a crappy attitude. Like this is who he is. This is who he was all last year.
There was news of him yelling at Brandon Garrison. There was news that he said the F word.
To Mark Pope?
Mark Pope said the F word.
No, you got to fire him. He's not going to Mormon heaven after that. Like, you can't do that, right?
No.
Yeah.
Imagine cussing and drinking coffee at the same time. This is unacceptable behavior. Is the moral decay of Lexington too much for a sanctimonious guy like Mark Pope to handle?
It's already getting to him.
It's turning him evil.
And imagine, BYU doesn't look good. He can't go back. He can't go back to BYU.
They're not going to welcome him back at this point. That's an honor code violation.
He's never allowed to swig again.
He's got the Lexington Devil working against him. This is the devil's inside of him now.
He's sneaking Red Bulls on this.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Texter says, should we expect Texas A&M to cancel the series too? We talked about this. I don't think so. I think that we're good there. Texas, I might be in the minority, but stay with me. My God, this is a long text. All right, I'm going to stay with you for a little bit. If you lose me, I'm going to have to cut the text off. The UGA opt-out was more mutual than fans think. I'm not trying to be negative, but we struggled this year to compete in the ACC. With next year's roster likely taking a step down talent-wise, why risk getting embarrassed on national TV? I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'll cut you off there. This was not, that did not go into the thinking. This was very much a Georgia coming to us, initially saying, look, we don't want to play this game next year. Well, we can give you $1 million, but we're not going to cancel the 2027 game. And then Josh Hurd kind of going back and forth, initially saying, like, we're going to get every penny we're owed and all this stuff, and then kind of realizing it's a bad deal for them. It feels like a bad deal for us. Those types of considerations did not come into mind. He says, secondly, the ACC is going to collapse. That's just a simple fact. I don't know that it is. I don't. We have different views on the word fact. We have a very appealing basketball brand along with an athletic department that carries its weight. Josh made the right move. Don't piss off a key school in the SEC. When it comes to finding a new home, I'd rather not have taken a large payout from a school in a conference we might eventually join. They're not letting us into the SEC. They're not letting. I mean, they're not. It's not going to happen. It would have to be a 28-team SEC where they go to like 2 major conferences and nothing else for us to be in the SEC.
They're not letting us in.
He said it's all politics and we have the program and fan base to leave the ACC. Josh knows it. We do, just not for the SEC. The Big 12 is the land. Would you hear all the Notre Dame fans now that are like, yeah, Big 12 won? I'm like, you want to go play in the Big 12? You had every opportunity to join the Big 10 decade after decade after decade. We're in a better spot than the Big 12 is.
I saw a lot of Notre Dame fans on Twitter talking about, this is perfect. Get us in the SEC. Get us in the Big 10. I was like, okay, well, you have to stop your NBC deal. The NBC's not going to let you play in the Big 10.
No.
You can't play on Big Noon. Or in the SEC, you can't play on ESPN primetime.
It's a better deal for them. Take the other TV money. I just want you to stop whining. Just stop with this whole thing. Texas says, Danielle Lerner appreciation text. Love Danielle. She's got a new job at USA Today. Props to her. She was a good friend while she was in town here. Made fun of Jeff Greer just as much as I did, which I appreciated. And, yeah, she's had a lot of success since she left. Danielle rules. Texas, we're going to end up playing USC in Nebraska or some bleep. Wrong. Ole Miss, Nashville. Texas, if the neutral site game versus Georgia is at Mercedes-Benz like fans are expecting, that means Georgia ducks 2 cancellation buyouts and gets the tourism revenue. Feels about right. That's what I don't want to happen. I would rather not play them at all than play them in like 2032 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, because it feels like they're just throwing us a bone. They're like, all right, 2030, in 2030, you can come to Georgia and come play us.
I'd be like, no, we're playing in North Dakota. We're not playing in your home state. We're not doing any of the neutral site that's not actually a neutral site type game stuff anymore. We shouldn't have to do that.
Play out of country. Let's go to Norway. Get some Icelandic Cardinal fans out there. Get them riled up for some neutral site action against the Georgia Bulldogs.
Latvia. You want to play us? Play us in Latvia. Let's go.
Let's go Serbia. Let Jokic flip the coin.
There we go. Greece. Bring Zugris along. Let's make it happen. Texas can't miss the Tennessee rainwater. We talked about this. Yeah, you sent this. Great name. Go Lemoyne. Trivia time. Lemoyne mascot. Either of you know?
The Cubs.
No.
The Vultures.
No. It's the same mascot as another school that I constantly ask you about, Roman.
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins is correct. The Lemoyne Dolphins. Shout out to Lemoyne. Famously beat Syracuse when they were not D1 several years ago, and now they're a D1 program. Texas's unnecessary financial impact is such a load of crap. SEC schools wipe their asses with $1 million these days. Any neutral site matchup, even if it happens, will definitely be in Atlanta with at least 90% Georgia fans. So we may as well have taken the game in Athens and gotten the buyout money from the 2026 buyout. Then we buy out whoever would have been cheaper between Villanova or Charlotte. This whole thing was straight up malpractice on Josh Hurd's part. And that was the other option, is you kind of make it all even. If we're assuming the Nova, the Charlotte, or the whoever buyout was in the range of $1 million but didn't exceed $1 million, you could have gotten the buyout. You could have played the road game against Georgia, and then you could have said, well, we're buying out. We're not playing the game against Nova. We're going to break even or come close to breaking even, maybe make a little bit of money and move on. They decided that that wasn't the best route to go. Who's to say who's right? I'm disappointed that the whole thing played out the way that it did, but it feels like it wasn't. There was no way, I think, for us to get exactly what we wanted, which was these 2 games to be played without any alteration. And that sucks.
That's where I think the big issue here is. It's not that we're not playing it, not that, Georgia got it. It's that we just didn't fight back. We just let them get out. Like we just didn't really do a lot about it. And then the mutual agreement, I get the point of they only want to buy out of one, and then, you get this much money, then we have to buy out of another game, so you don't get a lot of revenue from it. Like we don't gain anything. They don't gain anything. But at the same time, it's that feeling of someone did you dirty, and then you were just kind of like being the bigger person about it, and you were just let it go. And then everybody else is like, come on, put some fight up, do something.
Yeah, I mean, I understand for sure, and I think that in this, I mean, this isn't the time for diplomacy. It feels weird to say this, but like this is, it's
get your money up, Garrett.
It's all hands on deck. Like you got to be ruthless right now in all aspects of college sports, and maybe we could have been a little bit more ruthless here. I don't know exactly how much Georgia would have folded or if they'd been willing to sacrifice anything else. It doesn't sound like they were. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's what the fan base recognizes that. And I think all fan bases recognize this at this point. This is a lot of things that we would have criticized other programs for doing 5 years ago. We're like, hell yeah, let's go take. It's not that bad. We do the thing where it's like, all money's bad anyway. There's some bad people involved in everything. Who's to say these Saudis are really that bad if they want to get us a point guard for next year? These are the waters that we're swimming in now in college athletics. It's terrible.
I think it's the worst because it's coming from the head coach who just weeks ago came out was like, if a recruit doesn't want to come here, we schedule him.
Which also was just so ridiculous. Like, no, you don't. Texter says, do you really not see the conferences got involved? UGA, GT saved, UK Louisville saved. That's why no cost. I don't think that's what happened here. But it is I don't think UK Louisville was ever at risk. Georgia Tech was obviously never at risk. South Carolina, Clemson's not at risk. Florida State, Florida's not at risk. It was always going to be the other non-conference games that got bought out with these leagues moving to 9-game conference schedules. Texture says Georgia Tech plays a neutral this year when it's their turn in the series to get a home game, and now we're letting Georgia walk out for free. It's crazy how just everyone just bends the knee. I would have been pissed if I'm a Georgia Tech fan for doing that this year, where it was like we're playing a neutral game, and it's like, why? Play them at home. I mean, I guess that it appealed to their fan base just as much as Georgia's. It's kind of a unique thing where even when Georgia Tech plays on their home field, it's like 50% Georgia fans because there's a lot more Georgia fans than Georgia Tech fans. I guess that was the thinking. But it did come off as like little brother behavior. I hate to even use that term. It came off as they're the kings in this rivalry type behavior. We're fine with playing them on it's like back in the day when we first started playing Kentucky in the mid-'90s, and we played every single game in Lexington because it's the only way that they would play us. And after a certain point, we're like, all right, well, we're kind of beating you here. Like, you're going to play at home. If you're going to play us consistently, let's go. And they agreed. Texas Earl Grant tweets like Bring Brom home guy. Texture says
is Bring Brom home guy Earl Grant.
Texture says Mark stages of grief Pope. I mean, what stage of grief is Mark Pope in right now? It feels anger, right?
That's number. Is that number 3 or is that number 4?
Well, the first one is
number 2.
The first one's denial, right?
Yes.
The second one is, I think the second one's anger.
I think you and Roman are right. It's either 2 or 3.
Because then it's acceptance. Well, no, there's no. I think the second one is what? The
denial,
the
anger,
the coping, or the
bargaining. Depression.
I think bargaining's the second one, right?
No, anger's the second.
Anger's the second one.
Bargaining's the third.
We've got you're right. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
So we're in agreement that Earl Grant is in anger, so now he's going to start bargaining with fans.
No, we're talking about Mark Pope.
Oh, we're talking about Mark Pope.
Earl Grant started bargaining a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Earl Grant's in acceptance. He's just like, I'm going to get fired anyway. Why not start tweeting at these guys? Pope's in anger.
I think he's fake anger, though.
That's as much anger as he can get. That's the only stage of anger that he knows. It's as close as he can get to being legitimately angry as faking it. What will bargaining look like? I mean, just going to Mitch Barnhart and be like, I can't do it.
He just forces Jaden Quainitz out there on one leg so the fans.
Jalen Lowe's going to be holding the clipboard.
Starts playing all like the walk-ons just for no reason.
Trent Noah just gets more minutes.
Yeah, he's just like, whatever. I don't. Who cares? Please fire me. Texas Barnhart isn't creative at all. He will definitely hire the guy from St. Louis that we tried to hire before Pat Kelsey. Josh Schertz?
Barnhart's a goofball.
That's one way to put it. Schertz has been – St. Louis was a terrible job for him to take. He should have just stayed. I know it's a step up from Indiana State, but it's a tough place to win. He's doing a pretty good job so far, though. They're 8-1. Their only loss was a game against Stanford where I don't know if you saw the highlights. Like, they were up by like 11 in the last 2 minutes and completely fell apart. They fouled up 3, and it was a classic when fouling up 3 goes wrong. Stanford makes the first free throw, misses the second one, gets knocked around a little bit. Guy gets it, runs out to the three-point line, takes the 3 at the buzzer. Stanford wins by 1.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's their only loss this season. Now, they haven't played anybody, but that's their only loss so far this season. He's a good coach. He's a smart guy. I mean, we came very close to hiring him. He got screwed by his buddy Dusty May, because Dusty May was kind of telling people, yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Louisville. And so Josh Schertz was like, Louisville's kind of the only major program considering me. I'm going to sign a deal with St. Louis and ink my name on this MOU. A lot of memorandum of understanding talk on the radio show this week. And when it came that Dusty May took the Michigan job, we were like, all right, Josh, and he's like, I kind of signed something because I didn't think this was going to happen. And he couldn't get out of it. We weren't going to pay for it. That was the thing that Josh Schertz didn't understand. He was like, hey, they want me to pay $4 million to get out of this MOU. Can you guys just handle that for me? And we were like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't know what you think this is. We just got Kenny Payne. We're about to pay this guy $1 billion to go away for the next 5 years. We don't have that type of money lying around. So, Pat Kelsey it was. But Schertz is a good coach. Texter says, the year is 2028, and Matt Jones has lost his 5th straight game as head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. Kyle Bolin just capped off an 0-12 season as the head football coach of the fully infiltrated program. Vince Marrow. Just coaching women's basketball for some reason over there. Who knows? UK's in shambles right now. And they really, I know that they don't have nearly as much fan support when it comes to football as men's basketball. They kind of need Will Stein to be a good hire. Because at this point, it's like, Mark Pope not looking great. Now, this could just be a one-off. Maybe he gets a better roster next season. The pieces fit better together, and they go out there and they're a national title contender next season. But if they're not, and football is just tanking and we're beating them across the board, it's like we got volleyball and nothing else right now, which is a feeling that we as Louisville fans understand. We were there like 3 years ago. So
it was funny. On Kentucky Roll Call today, Stephen Peak and TJ were going back and forth. Like, Stephen brings up multiple times, this is the worst 6-year stretch in Kentucky basketball history, this and that, and he was explaining why, right? Like, losing to Oakland, losing to St. Peter's, all this stuff, and I just cut him off in the middle. I was like, hey, guys, coming from a man who knows pretty rough 6-year stretches in basketball history, I hadn't seen a tournament win since 2017.
We still haven't seen a tournament win since 2017.
And then they started laughing. I was like, I just want to let you guys know.
It's not funny.
It's not as bad as you guys are making it out to be right now. Yeah, you guys are in shambles. You guys haven't seen shambles yet.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, not the worst 6-year stretch in the history of Kentucky basketball. First season in Kentucky basketball history, 1902-03, 1 win, 2 losses. Next year, 1-4.
What was one of the losses, like YMCA?
They had an unknown head coach. I don't know if we can find the records.
Old LaGrange Church.
do they have the? I mean, it is funny going back to the U of L official data where it's like the YMCA team from like Frankfurt beat us 65-3, and like, this counts just as much to some people as like the game that just happened on the all-time records. Yeah, their coach was unknown. Their record was 1-2 in 1902-03. There's no record of the actual games though, so we're just taking their word for it. They won 1 game in each of their first 3 seasons of existence, and then went 5-9, 3-6, and 5-6. That's the worst 6-year stretch in the history of Kentucky basketball. They did go they went 5-4 in 08-09. That was their first winning season.
Have you all seen it's this dude on TikTok who he only brings up like the craziest basketball matchups ever in college basketball?
No.
Like one of them, like Minnesota played GE.
I've seen that video.
1905, and like he goes on to a bunch of these like
the company GE.
Yes.
Like they played GE in 1905 and 1902. One of them played the Marine Corps base in Quantico, Virginia, as Maryland lost to them 33-59.
Love it.
In 1944, this is during World War II.
I love it.
Or right after World War II.
The fact that and this is why I'm not gonna tell you like when the date. The fact that we talk about championships from that era in the same light that we talk about a championship in 2025 is outrageous. we used to have to go get kids that were like 28-year-old men working in coal mines and like pull them out and be like, do you want to play for Kentucky or do you want to play for Louisville we're playing some lawyers today. And like that game counted on the official records. There's stories like that. It's a wild, wild thing. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's hour number 3 of the show. We'll run through the text line. We'll talk about a couple things that we haven't had a chance to get to. We'll preview the night ahead in sports, which is kind of lame. I've also got a couple of off the beaten path stories for this Wednesday to make you think, to make you laugh, maybe to make you love. We'll get into that after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450-96.1 Big X. Welcome back in. It's the third hour of the Wednesday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450-96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Also, YouTube Big X Sports Radio stream. If you want to weigh in there, you can. I'm just checking out a couple of the comments here on the YouTube stream. I'm praying on Michigan's downfall. Ole Miss going down. Matt, cheer the bleep up. Their point on the buyout is 100% correct. Fire Josh Hurd, Big Ten and SEC flexing. I don't think the Cats will be able to guard Lamar Wilkerson and DeVries. They both go off. IU wins by double digits. Fru too thick, hashtag.
There's a lot of comments on the YouTube chat.
Is Josh Hurd going to donate a percentage of his salary to the Louisville NIL Collective? Since he didn't make Georgia pay to cancel the series, giving up money shouldn't be an issue for him. Lots of takes on the YouTube Big X Sports Radio chat stream today. If you got more, we'll take them as long as they're mildly radio appropriate. Reminder, if you've been hurt in an accident or on the job recently and you're looking for the place to go to get back on your feet, the Collier Law Firm has you covered. Every member of the Collier Law Firm has experience working for the insurance companies. They've got their playbook. They know how to use it. When they do use it, it's to get you the most money that you need for your recovery and for you to keep the most money for your recovery, which is why their attorney fees start at just 25%. They got your back. They don't have your wallet. Call the Collier Law Firm today at 502-736-8141. You can also go to collierlawfirm.com. That's COLYER lawfirm.com. Roman, would you like to hear something that's going to make you happy?
Always.
So there's a new chart out there. This is via at Joe A. NFL, one of those NFL kind of social media guys, ranking the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL this season. Now, this was sort of made as a point to look at the least accurate quarterbacks and say, Patrick Mahomes' accuracy rate has him as 27th in the league. Lamar Jackson's down there at 24th. But it's notable to me, do you know who the most accurate quarterback in the NFL is so far this season for guys that have played in at least 5 games?
Drake May.
He's 2.
Bryce Young?
No.
I mean, is it Tyler Shuck?
It's Tyler Shuck, baby!
I thought he was going to be like 3.
6 games, 201 snaps, an accuracy rate of 81.41%, a deep accuracy rate of 64.29%. Both of those are number 1 in the NFL, Roman.
That's surprising, the deep accuracy that he has Sam Darnold beat on that one.
He does. Where is Sam Darnold is the 10th most accurate quarterback. His deep accuracy rate is up there. It's 56.52. That's number 4 in deep accuracy rate. The only quarterbacks with a better deep accuracy rate are Tyler Shuck, Drake May, and Justin Herbert.
Herbert more. I was going to say Stafford.
Herbert and May are tied, 57.14%. Stafford is 4th overall in accuracy rate, and he's got a 47.29% deep ball rate, which is about, I think it looks like probably like 11-12 range.
Shuck him.
Is he the best? Should we give him the MVP?
Best quarterback in the league.
Kind of feels like he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now, and he's only 4 starts into his career.
It's a great sign.
It's a fantastic sign.
Partially because he's 30. I'm just kidding. He's 26. You should be having the experience to come in and do those kinds of things as a rookie that is a little bit older than the average rookie.
But he's doing it.
And he's doing it with his feet as well, which is great.
Roman, have you ever wondered why certain stations go to holiday music 24 hours a day this time of year?
Not really. Figured that was just the thing.
You could just say yes to play into the story.
Yes, I've always wondered that. I don't like it.
I always wondered it.
It's too early.
They do it November. They started doing it November 1st. First of all, did you know this? This is a fact. Louisville is the only market that has 2 stations that have gone full-blown Christmas music all hours, all day, all holiday season. 102.3 The Rose and Mix 106.9. We're the only market in America that has multiple Christmas stations.
Wow. That's surprising.
Did you know that the first station to make the move to Christmas radio is the Saskatchewan Edmonton station, Mix 107.9? They did it the day before Halloween. These are facts.
24 hours straight.
24 hours straight on Halloween.
Christmas music.
If you wanted to hear Sleigh Ride on Halloween, you could only do so if you were living in Saskatchewan, if you didn't have access to, like, Spotify. Now, I did kind of always wonder, I was like, do they really do, like, it wasn't until I started working at radio like when I was in iHeart. iHeart had all the access to all the numbers, all the stats, and they threw them out there in emails. And it was kind of fascinating. I didn't realize like Christmas music stations dominate the market. It's not just like, oh, they get a little bit of a bump. There are 850 million times more people listening to Christmas music right now than are listening to this station. And that's not just us. It's everybody. Christmas music is outrageous. According to last year's study about this, 98% of holiday music listeners say that they listen to Christmas music on the radio in the car and that it helps them get them into the holiday spirit. 3 out of 4 holiday music listeners say they're more likely to purchase from a company or brand that they heard advertised in their holiday music station. That's a big deal as well. And 8 out of 10 say that they're more likely to support companies that contribute to holiday music atmosphere when they're out there shopping. So it's a big deal, but I think I saw like the most listened to station during December last year was a holiday-only station in like 27 of the 30 biggest markets in America, which is nuts. It's crazy.
That's ridiculous. It's the same stuff every year.
Do, 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 do. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with Roman. You don't like that?
I like that.
You don't get...
That sounds like a J.C. Penney commercial or something.
I throw it on there with the kids in the radio.
That made me want to go to Macy's right now.
Feels good. Feels good to say. Now, don't start listening to Christmas music instead of us. But let's go. A little bit of breaking news here, Roman.
Okay.
Via Pete Thamel, former Louisville assistant and now former Michigan head coach Sharon Moore has been fired by the school. The firing is set to be for cause. Ooh.
What?
Ooh.
That's kind of a big deal.
Definitely a big deal. Is the for cause that he's like not that good of a coach? I mean, I guess you could go back. He got suspended for the first 4 games this season, right? Or was it 2 games?
2 games. But they were not back-to-back, and they were not at the start of the year.
And it was technically, I guess, from new details that emerged during the offseason, not the initial stories that resulted in Harbaugh leaving and him getting all that stuff. I'm about to sneeze. I'm fighting it off. Hold on, give me just one. Okay. God, it's such a weird feeling to fight off a sneeze. Okay, I'm good. So my hunch would be that this is what the for cause is about. That it's not something new. If it's something new, then my God, how nervous are you as a Michigan fan? But that's kind of crazy. There's a salacious rumor out there. What is it saying? Okay, well, this was just posted by like an old, I guess like an insider. It just said a salacious rumor about Sharon Moore has surfaced earlier today that sadly has been spreading. I won't say what it is, but since other programs are using it in recruiting to attend, here's what I can say on the matter after doing some digging. No, he hasn't been, nor is he slated to be fired, and no, there hasn't been any evidence of misconduct. This was 3 days ago. Maybe that's changed.
I mean, what could he? Never mind. I don't even want to know.
Is this the world that we're going to live in now?
Yes.
Where like 9 and 3 coaches at places like Michigan and Penn State and are just going to get fired every single year from now on? That's crazy. Not saying that it's even like the worst thing in the world, but I'm a little surprised. If he had beaten Ohio State, do you think he still gets fired?
No.
I don't think so either. I feel like that's the feather in his cap that he just gets to keep going. That is, that's my Facebook friend, Sharon Moore, which I found out a couple of years ago. When I was like, I saw a post. I was like, am I friends with Sharon Moore on Facebook? I guess it happened during his time here as a coach, but maybe I'll post on his wall, Roman. Just give him a little heads up and say, hey man, it's your buddy Mike.
We could use you over at the Big X.
Yeah. Have you ever done any producing? Like to get into some sound mixing? Let's make it happen. That props to, I was going to say props to Sharon. He had a good run, I guess. We'll see where he lands at this point.
Should have got a quarterback that could throw the ball.
I mean, that's kind of the big thing. I think they could be okay moving forward.
I like the Underwood kid.
I do too.
Can't throw.
No, he's not great. By the way, congratulations. Speaking of people who can throw, Briggs Cherry is going to be welcomed to the Navy All-American Bowl tonight during a ceremony at 8 o'clock.
The what?
the Navy All-American Bowl.
Oh, okay.
There's an Army All-American Bowl and a Navy All-American Bowl. And I just saw his little like fan card for this thing. Committed to Louisville. Helped lead the team to a Division II Class 3A state title as a senior. Favorite NFL team, Detroit Lions. This is my guy. I'm not so sure that we shouldn't start Briggs Cherry as a true freshman.
I don't have anything wrong with it.
He's a Lions guy. He's a winner. This is my guy. He's got the tattoo sleeve. I already loved this guy to begin with. And now I love him even more.
I'm not out on Deuce, though.
I'm not out on Deuce either. We'll see what happens in the bowl game. We still haven't heard anything official. I kind of thought we'd hear by now, like Miller Moss playing or sitting, Deuce Adams playing or you know. It's kind of a need-to-know thing.
Miller's back in California.
You think so? No, he's putting videos up about getting McDonald's during his off day. He's still reaping in the NIL money.
Is he?
Yeah, guest strike.
He already threw out the. Never mind.
Guest strike while the iron's hot, man. You didn't post anything during that 3-game losing streak. We won one game against Kentucky. He's like, Long John Silver's platter's back. I'm also a McDonald's guy. I'm donating gigantic checks to charities. He's all over the place. All right, Louisville posted this on their men's basketball Twitter account or Instagram account. They polled their roster for the answers to these superlatives. I want you to guess who the answer is for all of these. Okay, Roman, are you ready for it?
Right.
Who has the best kicks on the team?
I thought you were going to say the Hammer.
No.
The best kicks, Cooper Ranvier.
Michael Brown Jr.
Wait. I misheard you.
Well, you just repeated the question. So this is basketball.
Okay.
Basketball. Best kicks on the team. The team voted for Michael Brown Jr.
I'm going Woolley.
Who do you think they voted as the best DJ?
Kanai.
Kanai is correct. Kanai Roots, best DJ. Who do you think they voted as having the best energy? Okay, now keep in mind, I should say, this kind of gives it away. Apparently, coaches were allowed to be voted.
Pat Kelsey.
Pat Kelsey is the correct answer. Danny just, okay. I'm not going to say what the rumor is. I mean, it's the same rumor that follows around, I feel like, every head coach at a certain point when they get fired unexpectedly. Co-ed staffer, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, that's what you, yeah.
Who do you think players voted as the class clown?
Class clown. That one's tough. I mean, I want to say, is it just players on this one as well?
Just players.
I want to say Kanai on this one, too.
I was going to say Cole Sherman. It's Spencer Legg.
Okay, I should have known that one.
Now, apparently this one was a tie. They asked who's the best dressed on the team.
Ryan Conwell.
Ryan Conwell was correct.
And Javon Hadley?
Cason Pryor.
Oh, duh. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, do we have to do...
I'm
is this
disappointed
best
in
dressed?
myself for that one. That's off the floor. That's their drip, Mike.
I feel like but is best dressed just like most flamboyant? Like just craziest dress? It's kind of what I feel
Who
like.
wears the most name brand stuff, maybe?
I mean, like, I obviously couldn't wear what Cason Pryor can wear.
But Cason's got this thing going now where that's a part of it.
I know.
So
it's like his thing.
half his comments on Instagram are about his fit.
It's like it's fashion, man. But, like, does it have to be fashion? I don't think it's good fashion.
I should have known that one.
Okay. Who's got the best hair?
Javon Hadley.
They voted Pat Kelsey. Who do you think has the messiest locker? This, by the way, was also a tie.
Messiest locker. Something's telling me it's a front court player.
One of them is. One front court, one back court.
Michael Brown.
Michael Brown is correct. Freshman.
All them shoes.
Come on, man.
All them leg sleeves in there. And then, I mean, something about Zugris tells me he's just got it all spread out in there.
I could see him being messy. It's not correct, though. Cason Pryor is the other one.
I mean, wait. Okay. Cason, how do you even have a reason to have that much stuff in there right now?
Okay, so last one real quickly. Best dunker.
Kanai.
Kanai is correct. I feel like there's only two options right there, Kanai or Michael. It was Kanai. So we now have...
I bet you it's Kamara, though.
I could see that.
He probably doesn't get the vote on that one.
Now, I said I wasn't going to say what the rumor is, but we've got Brett McMurphy out there just tweeting it out. Sharon Moore has been terminated with cause effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and UM maintains zero tolerance for such behavior.
A staff member?
The big rumor is that he got a staff member pregnant.
Oh. Jeez.
It's always,
but, I mean, a staff member, that means, like...
It's always a staff member or a co-ed.
Probably someone close to his age, though, right?
You would hope so. Now, I mean, it could be like a graduate assistant or like a... I mean,
wait, how old is he?
Probably like what, early 50s?
Oh, wait, I got him mixed up. I got his...
No, he's 39.
I thought he was under 40.
He's younger than I am. I had no idea he was that young.
Yeah, I thought he was under 40. So, yeah, it's probably some under 30-year-old. Yeah, that's just, I mean, he probably signed, it was probably in his contract. You can't do that kind of stuff.
It blows my mind that head coaches are still in this day and age consistently willing to risk it all for this, you know? Like,
it'll never make sense to me.
Is it not an urge that you can satisfy in other ways? I mean, I understand, like,
I get you.
We're biologically made this way, but I mean, think of all you have to lose.
I get you're there. It's a 365-day-a-year job. If it's not as like, if it's, I mean, you know, if it's a relationship, that's one thing. If they're dating, they're planning to get married on the side. Like, that's just.
I don't think that's happening.
No, I'm just saying if that's the scenario, that more times than not,
I know.
You'd understand that almost a little bit. You can go you go to anywhere in the world you want. You've got enough money to travel anywhere. You can go to any state you want in your off time. You can go be around pretty much any crowd of people you want to. You have that kind of ability. And you choose the one type of group of people you signed on a piece of paper you wouldn't ever associate with.
Can I come at you with a bold and exciting new strategy that I would implement as athletic director to combat this very issue? Because it's, you know,
unlimited drinks at the dive bar across town. No students allowed. No staff allowed.
No. And I really hope that Josh is listening to this part. Mandatory daily wank session. There's like a specified room for this.
No, you can't do this.
You can do this.
You can't do this.
I'm paying you millions of dollars to go out there and win football games and not embarrass my school.
Within a year, they're going to start hiring sessionists.
No. There's a room. Every day at a certain time. I'm like, I don't care what's going on. I don't care if you're in a weightlifting set. Like, no. You in the room, 10 minutes, go. I see who goes into the room. When you're done, you come out, you're done. The urge is gone. And you go back to coaching. You're focused. You're revitalized. That is a job requirement for coaching under Mike Rutherford, the AD.
This would work, and then until like a year and a half in, it
would work.
I didn't know she was in the room.
No. See, I'm there. I'm not in the room, but I'm the one coming in and being like, "Hey, it's 12:30. You know what time it is? Get your ass in there. Let's go." Mandatory wank sesh.
Just make him married as a requirement.
He is married.
Oh,
he's been married since 25. He's got 2 daughters.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't. Okay, single, no mandatory wank sesh. Well, no. Scratch that from the record. We're back to mandatory wank sesh. It has to happen. But I'm not going to control your weekend life. But if you're married, like maybe we're doubling up. I don't know. But this is a requirement. I think, you know who would be in a lot better state as an overall athletic program over the last 10 years if they had mandatory wank sessions for every coach? Louisville. Just the horniest athletic program in the world for a few years there.
A few schools you can name, but yeah.
I mean, it's not just Louisville. Every school your favorite head coach has probably done some dirty stuff.
Don't say that.
Over the years. Just saying. Just based on my experience. You talk to people who know people, you get disappointed with people that you thought would never partake in certain behaviors. You know how you avoid it, though? Mandatory wank sesh. 10 minutes a day, every day. get in there, get it out of your system, and then you're not looking at Debbie from accounting the same way. Or Mark from accounting the same way. This isn't just for men. I'd be fired in 12 hours on the job as AD. Let me lay out my vision. I'm releasing it to the... I think the public would be on my side. I think that they would support this.
You'd be terrible. I need to know every day.
Terribly effective.
You'd be going through every coach's phone. Let me see that phone.
They're like, I'm going to need that password to get into that hidden album.
All right, turn your Life 360 on, Coach.
I'm going to need to see this. I need you focused right now. I need to know where you're going after this game. I'm telling you. I'm a revolutionary thinker. Game Day men's health text lines 502-414-1450. I think it's a good idea. People asking how my wife feels about this. She'd have my back. She'd support this. I would bring Mary in to like talk to the coach's wife about why this is a thing that needs to happen. She's the more, she connects with people on a different level. Like, I would bring her in and be like, I need you to talk to Coach whoever's wife. Get her on board with this. But he loves me. We trust each other. I'm not saying he doesn't. Wink sesh, mandatory. He's getting $5 million a year from me. This is the least he can do. You'll thank me when all's said and done. It's going to save your marriage. Texter says, we don't have to worry about the Georgia games because they'll be yearly opponents when we move to the SEC in 2030. Chestnut checkers. I hope all of you cards to the SEC people are right. I would love it. I don't think it's going to happen. Texas, believe it or not, Kentucky did beat IU. If Kentucky did beat IU on Saturday, we would likely have 2 quad 1 wins instead of 1. Quad 1 is 1 through 30 at home, 1 through 75 on the road, and 1 through 50 on a neutral site. Is Kentucky going to jump that much if they beat IU?
I don't think so. Where are they at right now? 34? Maybe they will.
They might. It's a home win.
I just don't think they stay there, regardless, with what will happen to them in the SEC.
Mary just texted me because yesterday when I tuned in, first thing I heard was about a husband and wife banging it out for some streak, I think. There have been some interesting combos on your shows lately. Sorry. This is what you married into. This is what you agreed to. Texas says, Riddler again, back. Hey, Joshy boy. Oh, God. It's been a bad segment for Josh to listen to the show. Once again, I'll remind you, it's not just numbers on a spreadsheet. ACC TV revenue is split up by viewership. Georgia is a massive brand that would have brought tons of viewers. Did you account for that? Also, well, you can't play them. We can't force them to play next year. Also, the ACC admitted, even though there will be a 9-game slate in 2027, that some teams in the ACC will still only play 8 since there are 17 teams. Advocate for 8 games in 2027 for us so that we could have avoided a buyout to Nova. You had the bleeps and didn't see them or chose not to use them. Visionless loser. We should have took the road game against Georgia. Riddler out. Now, that is, I guess, a avenue that we could have gone down. I don't know if we have that type of negotiating ability to say, hey, we want to be one of the teams that plays 8 conference games in 2027, or if that would be fine. Because I think that would end up with us potentially losing a home game. I don't know the ins and the outs enough to talk about that. But
I don't want to be an 8 ACC team. 8 game. I think that's asking to get left out of an ACC championship potentially.
I love how this is, by the way, a billion-dollar industry, college football is.
And they haven't figured it out.
And
they don't have an equation for it.
We are less than 2 years away from moving to a 9-game conference schedule. And the ACC, their official stance is still, we're going to figure it out. When it comes down to who's going to play 9 games and who's going to play 8 and how the hell that's going to work.
We'll figure it out when we get there.
We just embarrassed ourselves on a national level by having a 7-5 conference champion that went 1-3 in the non-con, and they got in because of some ridiculous tiebreaker rules. And we're like, but that was weird. That was a whole thing. This is going to be different. Trust us. We'll get this whole thing settled out in a way that's going to make everybody happy. I don't trust you. I feel like we're going to end up with one team when the schedules come out that randomly has 6 conference games. And it's like, what? How is Stanford only playing 6 conference games? I don't trust you guys in your ability to math correctly. Texas, we all know what word came after visionless. Well, I would hope you would. There's only so many rhymes. That's the way that it could work. Texas, well done, Riddler. Get him. Texas, I thought Diener was going to crush my... Nah, come on. No, we're not doing that. Texas, Drew D did not take a shot at you this morning, Mike. He was mad at someone from Georgia, not you. Okay, well, that makes me feel better. I still don't know why he would be mad. All I did was that's where they found the quote. It was on my website. I properly attributed it to the coach's show. Linked, I think, Mark Blankenbaker's tweet. It's by the book work. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's the final segment of the day. We'll run through the text line. We'll make some predictions for a light slate in sports ahead, and then we'll hand things off to Roman Kelly and the Ticket Punchers from 5:30 to 6. This is the Mike Rutherford Show. It's presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus. It's live here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. A very hard rock Roman music session today.
Well, that one was the only one that wasn't really like fitting a theme there.
What was the theme?
Just like being scared and afraid of.
Oh, you're calling out Georgia for not wanting us to play.
Calling out Georgia today.
I like that. Some other people calling out Josh Hurd. They think maybe that's what you're doing because that's what the text line's been saying. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. We'll get back with you guys momentarily. It's so dark outside so early.
It is.
I
It's
can't.
depressing.
I hate to do this. I know it's like a
Makes you want Vietnam Kitchen.
I love Vietnam Kitchen. Every day, every now and then, I check to see if they're on DoorDash.
Nope.
They're never going to get on DoorDash.
Nope.
If they did,
no better.
Yeah, so I love Vietnam Kitchen. You love Vietnam Kitchen. I'm sure a lot of people love Vietnam Kitchen. Do you remember the first time you got taken to Vietnam Kitchen and you were like, "This is the place"?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
My brothers took me when I was like 12, and I was a big fan of like Thai food, all Asian food, and I was like, "This is the place that you guys have been talking. There's no way that this place is good, and it's incredible."
Genuinely looks like the inside of a restaurant in Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been, but I can,
a nice one.
I can assume it was not the dining experience I was expecting, and then I started eating the food, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is delicious." I haven't been in a few years. I need to get back there, but
You better hurry up. They keep teasing going out of business.
What?
I don't know. It's because it's the older people there. There was like the mom and dad running the place.
Right.
I don't know how much how much longer they want to run it.
I can't lose Vietnam Kitchen and Lonnie's in the same year. Cannot let that happen. We need the mom and pop shops to step it up. Donate your money to NIL for Louisville and then help save Vietnam Kitchen. That's what you got to do. But it's so dark out. I'm always in the mindset. I get home now, and it's already like pitch black. And then you do a couple things. You walk the dog. You hang out with the kids. You get them fed for dinner. And you're in that state where it could be 6:40 or it could be like 10:15, and I've somehow not gotten the kids in bed in time for school for the next day. You just don't know. I hate it so. I never know what time it is now once the sun goes down, and it's just dark and sad and miserable. It's why we need the Christmas spirit to pick us up. It's why we need U of L sports. That's the light that we have in the winter months is Louisville basketball, lifting us up and taking us to a happy place. And thankfully, those days are back right now. Louisville, we'll start talking more about the Louisville-Memphis game and the rivalry there coming up on tomorrow's show. Cards, I'm kind of surprised. Memphis is coming off a pretty impressive performance, good win over Baylor. They've been playing better basketball recently after their 1-4 start. Ken Pom has this as a 13-point Louisville win, which means we're probably going to get a double-digit opening spread for this game. That feels a little robust to me, Roman. Feels a little robust. I heard you guys talking a little bit about the game.
Double-digit. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be. That's like 8.5, 9.5 is kind of where I was at. You're making it sound like it's going to be like 12 or 13.5.
I kind of feel like it's going to be like 11 at the end of the day. I think it's maybe a little bit much. Light slate tonight in the world of college basketball. Minnesota's playing Purdue, Houston's playing Jackson State, and then Wisconsin at Nebraska. But did you know Nebraska was undefeated and ranked in the top 25?
I knew they were ranked. I didn't know they were undefeated.
That's the only.
I feel like you couldn't be Nebraska and be ranked this early and not be undefeated.
That's you're not wrong about that. This may be the last time that we talk about Nebraska being undefeated. That's the 9 o'clock game on the BTN. Those are the only notable top 25 matchups tonight in college basketball. Nice game in the NBA. I mean, you're going to be staying up late tonight, I assume.
You said Minnesota was playing tonight, right?
Minnesota's playing Purdue.
20-point dogs?
20.5.
I like it.
At Mackey Arena.
I love it.
We'll see what happens. Did you know, by the way, a little college basketball trivia for you, Nebraska, only power conference program that has never won a game in the NCAA tournament.
I didn't know that.
Have never won a game in the NCAA tournament. Every other of the major of the programs in the 5 major conferences has won at least one NCAA tournament game. Could this be the year?
No.
Probably not. But you got Suns Thunder in the NBA Cup, followed up by Spurs Lakers. How's the NBA Cup going, Roman? Give me an NBA Cup date.
It's going pretty well. I think it's like we've mentioned, it ups the intensity. They're playing.
Does it, though?
I mean, just in terms of players not being hurt.
Okay.
The in-between injury players, they all play. But ultimately, there's not. It was a little bit more exciting last year. There's kind of been some crazy finishes, though, in the NBA Cup already this season. And they try to make it to where the NBA Cup games, where there's not a bunch of them, are the better teams. The better teams playing on the same days and stuff. So that was kind of cool. But now it's getting down to it. Lakers playing the Spurs tonight. No Wemby. I think they'll get the win.
No Wemby?
No Wemby. No, not yet at least. It's this thing that happens. Like if you're a game-to-game or day-to-day game-time decision, questionable for a couple of weeks kind of a player, you're coming. When the Lakers are on the schedule, when you're playing them, you're going to be healthy.
Now, my friends bring up first of all, props. I might actually watch a little bit of this game tonight if there's nothing going on else late, because there's no Avalanche don't play tonight. College basketball slate is light. Should be might be worth turning on a little Lakers Spurs. But two people have now texted me this, and it never even crossed my mind. So Michigan, it's late in the game when it comes to the coaching carousel. All the big spots have already been filled. All the viable candidates have either taken new jobs or gotten contract extensions, except for one. We still don't have a contract for Jeff Brom yet. Is Jeff Brom on Michigan's shortlist, Roman?
They probably make a call.
This never even entered my mind. I didn't even think about this. He said thanks but no thanks to Penn State. Would he say thanks but no thanks to Michigan?
I think so, but they still probably make a call.
According to the Michigan message board, the Wolverine, their shortlist is Urban Meyer, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh. Bring him back, baby. Redo
Not allowed
this
to
thing.
come back.
What if Matt Campbell?
For like 10 more games or something, isn't he?
I think so. What if they took Matt Campbell from Penn State? Someone says my immediate Michigan football head coaching shortlist: Jay Harbaugh, Brian Griese, Jake Dickert, PJ Fleck, Jeff Brom. Maybe the Jeff Brom offseason candidate cycle has not come to a conclusion yet. What if he said no to Penn State just because he knew that Sharon Moore was boinking subordinates and that this could happen? I think we're fine. I think we're good.
Does the big dog get his name thrown?
Oh, there it is. There's the one that we're looking. If he turns down Toledo, maybe he'll look at the Michigan job. We'll find out. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Let's get back to you guys. Let's run through the text, get to as many as we can, and then we will make some predictions for tonight. You'll have to hear Roman's Big X, Big Bets on the ticket punchers coming your way from 5:30 to 6. Texas says the new stadium actually won't be completed yet, which is why they're playing in Nissan Stadium. So not an option to play the game in the new stadium in Nashville, which makes you feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, it's not complete. Yeah.
Texas says former Reds employee here. Oh, boy. Believe me when I say that Nick Kroll is an extremely smart guy. Sometimes he says or is forced to say things that don't make a lot of sense. Just know that he's operating within the limits given to him by ownership. Mike, I'm sure you know who's really to blame when things like this happen. Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I think that there are some things that he's done that I disagree with, but it's not like he's calling the shots about how much of a budget he has to work with.
What is he, just a spokesperson then, really?
He's the GM. They tell him what he can spend, and he tries to make the most out of that budget.
That's silly. He should be able to choose.
You'd think. Here's the problem with what happened yesterday is everybody saw that the Reds were willing to give up $5 million, 5-year, $125 million contract for Kyle Schwarber. Unless they were just doing it because they knew it was an offer that was going to be turned down, which a lot of Reds fans think. If you were willing to spend that money on a guy, why not spend that much money on like 3 players that could dramatically bolster your young roster, which made the playoffs last year, and turn them into a legitimate contender? Instead, they're like, we're maybe going to spend $10 million on players for next season.
Silly.
Have you seen now that the Dodgers are probably going to get Tarek Skubal? That's a big rumor out there.
The Tigers are willing to trade him is just insane.
If the Dodgers got Edwin Diaz yesterday. If they go out there and they get Skubal, like it's not even fun at this point.
If they get Skubal, that's genuinely not right.
It's more outrageous than anything the Yankees, the Lakers, or any other big-time franchise have ever done when it comes to just absolutely loading up their roster because they've got more money than everybody else. That's outrageous. Texture says, this is Boney Dumper, would you let a shirtless Mark Stoops hand feed you hummus if it meant U of L football was in IU's shoes right now?
Yes.
You kidding me? Of course.
He could put the hummus on his finger, and I'll eat it off of it.
I would too. I'm not even going to fault you. I'm not going to make you feel weird about saying that. I would too. Shirtless Mark Stoops, finger full of hummus.
He could put the jacket on, not zipped, not buttoned up.
Yeah, the little Letterman's jacket. Just letting the
unbuttoned, no shirt,
letting the taco meat show. Yeah, I'd be down for that. Give me a 13-0 record. 13-0, 1 seed in the college football playoff. Hell yeah, no question about it. Wouldn't ask twice. That's how good of a fan I am. That's how selfless I am. Texter says, first-time texter, Cowboy, Josh Hurd is worthless and weak and has fumbled this the way he handled the coaching search before lucking into getting Pat Kelsey. Does anyone think Jurich wouldn't have taken the $1 million payout from Georgia? Bring back Tom. Ooh. Roman's got no take because he's looking for the cowboy sound. Texture says, Dave, there. Oh, that was faster than I thought it was going to be. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, says, I got to say, the Riddler text today is going to be an all-timer. I can't wait. Well, you got 2 of them. Got to say, Jeff High has the best band and choir performance around. The winter concert was fantastic. One more on Thursday at 7 if anyone wants to experience the best. Also, Michael Cooper from Jeff is at Wright State and getting all conference honors weekly at this point. I called it before, and I'll say it again. The dude is going to end up at a P5 school. Shout out to Michael Cooper. The second best basketball playing Michael Cooper that I'm familiar with.
Talking about him last year.
Mm-hmm. Texture says, don't miss my first text. Did we read it? We read your first text already, Scootator. But Matt, bad news, Brandy Childress needs to take his crappy opinion somewhere else. Would you rather play the bleeping School of the Blind? There were a lot of people that were mad about producer Matt's overall attitude about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Next text, producer Matt just likes to be miserable. Would have liked an exciting home game because the home schedule is missing some juice next year. Texture says Roman hates Matt Painter and Rick Barnes more than Jason Whitlock hates LeBron and Coach Prime. Also, you skipped over my previous text.
Whitlock's insane.
Whitlock is insane. Previous text, since you said before that Josh Hurd text you, did he explain to you why he didn't make Georgia pay the break and move home? He did reach out, gave his side of things, which I relayed. Still have some issues with the way that it all went down, but I appreciate him reaching out and giving his side of things. Said if I was U of L president, I would have spit in his face and fired him on the spot. Okay, well, that's
ridiculous.
People want Josh Hurd tarred and feathered for this. Texter says, oh my God, Kentucky Tears are the funniest thing in the world. I just saw a fan on Twitter say Mitch Barnhart was a Louisville plant. Boy, how them tables turn. Yep. Texter says, Lazar guy said, if it's not UGA at home, but I do like this replacement. It's a winnable national TV game against an SEC opponent. Opening weekend of college football. Can't wait.
That's what I'm saying.
I've always, we've kind of gone back and forth on this the last couple of years. I've always said I'm the minority. I kind of like easing into a season. I like having the ability to be 3-0 or 4-0 going into October. I feel like you should be 3-0 or 4-0.
ACC teams don't have that luxury anymore, Mike.
They don't, and I will say it's also like there's a clear benefit for playing a game like this in week 1. You could just spend the whole summer kind of talking about Ole Miss and counting down the days until Ole Miss, and you're going to be a part of what's always now.
Pretty much watching all their roster moves as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be part of that loaded opening weekend for national TV games. It's become one of the most watched weekends in all of college football every single year. It's a lot easier for us. It makes our job a lot easier. People are certainly more excited to go to Nashville and watch us play Ole Miss than they would be if we were playing Murray State at home in week 1. The issue is, we don't know what we're going to do with quarterback. We sure as hell better be ready to go from game 1 next season.
That's the tough part about it for me.
Yeah, I mean we've started slow each of the last 2 years,
and I think that at a certain point in the season we felt like there was always been a game where we could have played like this 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or back at this point in the season. The last thing you want to feel like is we got worked by an Ole Miss team that if we played them right now, December, whatever it is, that we would have a better chance of playing them. With the flip side of that, it goes both ways. That if you've had 2 losses and Ole Miss is your last game of the season, are your guys even getting up for that game if it doesn't matter like it would at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I mean it's also a nice little carrot for the team when they're working out during the summer and being like, hey, we got number 8 Ole Miss, game 1. Hit that extra rep.
You better be ready. Yeah.
Get that extra time.
Good point.
You get that extra throwing session to get that relationship between the quarterback and the receiver. We can't afford to not be ready to go right out of the gate this season. Yeah. If we do, we're going to get embarrassed on national TV.
No fixing things in week 7.
Nope.
Jeff, we got to fix things in the summer.
That's right. Zach says, with the closing of that segment, you definitely have a live, laugh, love sign in your house. My wife might find you down and kill you. Like she does not care for those types of signs. We do not have one in our house, and if I wanted to, I think she'd probably divorce me. Not that we're judging, just not her style. Texas says, "Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet." Sounds like something a homophobic gym teacher would say. One of my favorite holiday toys. I've never seen that.
I haven't either.
It's a great.
I didn't know it was a tweet. I only saw the beginning of the text before we clicked on it.
Giddy up, jangle horse, pick up your.
Yeah, I had to share that one. With the
we
group
all
chat.
we all had a gym teacher like that growing up. Oh man,
I was a health teacher.
We had a health teacher too in high school. My high school health and gym teacher would not have done that.
Looked like he should have been football coach for some Oldham County school kind of a guy. He was very much like that.
Oh man. I texted, I can't stand Christmas music, but I would absolutely listen to a channel of just Mike singing Christmas music. I could make that happen for you.
I mean, sounds like you make some good money doing that.
Oh, come all ye faithful. I do a little medley, little Kathy Mattea medley. Boom. Texas, during the Christmas radio talk, I was getting into my car. The stream playing my phone continued to play, but for some reason it switched to radio, which was on Christmas stations, and I thought Roman was playing a prank, but after 10 seconds I realized what happened. I'd also like if you all just sang Christmas carols for one day, maybe even record it and run it on Christmas Eve, could make a lot of money.
The issue with me is, like, I don't even know the correct
Doesn't
tune.
matter. Doesn't matter.
I only know the John Denver versions of them all. It's all slow.
I forgot about your only knowledge of Christmas music being John Denver.
I'll hear a famous song. I'm like, oh, that's actually how fast that song is. It's not a slow Christmas song at all. John Denver
I just love the idea.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
I just love the idea of like 14-year-old Roman hearing Nat King Cole's version of the Christmas song or Bing Crosby doing White Christmas and being like, ooh, I want to hear the real one.
What is this?
Play the real version of this. You know, as if John Denver wrote and produced every Christmas song before anybody else did.
You wouldn't believe how long I thought every song was his.
Texter says, Sharon Moore from Michigan, Sharon Moore from Michigan football offices right to horny jail.
Straight to it.
Straight to it.
Don't key away.
No delay.
Give all his money to the kid.
Texter says, pulling the old Bobby Petrino up at Michigan. Yeah, one of the many. Texter says Sharon Moore has to be pissed at Lane Kiffin. Why? I don't get. I mean, I'm not doubting it, but
he gets away with it.
Oh well, I mean, he's not the only one. Look, if Sharon Moore had gone 11-1 this season, was getting ready for a playoff game, something tells me that this wouldn't be cause for dismissal right now. They'd be two, young.
Should have got into yoga instead of the staff members.
Two young lovebirds just getting ready to celebrate their love child. That's what would have happened. 10-minute wank sesh. Just get them in there. Solved all your problems. Texas, don't skip my previous text, but what is it with this happening to multiple former U of L coaches' assistants? Also, now I'm waiting to hear that Louisville and the NCAA have mutually agreed to not put the banner back up. Way to go, Josh. There's something in the water on Floyd Street, or at least there used to be.
It's a good text.
If you were here in 2012 drinking that Floyd Street water fountain, you were just the horniest person imaginable. There was nothing you could do about it. I don't know. Maybe it was some part of some government conspiracy, big-time experiment. I don't know. But there was something happening. It wasn't normal, the levels of horniness that were taking place across the board back then. Texter says, I'm driving with focus turned on. I'll see your message when I get where I'm going. I'm not receiving notifications. If this is urgent, reply urgent to send a notification through with your
They're
original
texting
message.
Game Day Men's Health here. That's replying to Game Day Men's Health. They sent that text and the GIF.
They
at
sent the
4:50.
GIF of the Matthew McConaughey.
And their phone started responding
That's
to
hilarious.
Game Day. That's great.
You got to pump those up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket. Texas Miller Tile here. It's the Game Day Men's Health Wank Room. You could find a sponsor for that. I'm not going to say it. Texas says, what does Roman do when he works the Pacers games? Give us producer insight and a new show with Trevor for the Twitch gang.
Trevor and I mapped out some details. There's some changes coming to Real Spiel. Going to be just him and I on the live show again. Matt and Will going to be doing something separate for us. But I just play the commercials. I listen to Mark Doyle and Pat Boylan. Their names are so similar.
Doyle and Boylan?
Doyle and Boylan.
I like that. Sounds good.
I'm pretty sure that's their names. One of them's I forget what their old titles were. But it's the radio play-by-play guys that work for Learfield and do the Pacers games. Pretty much every 2 commercial breaks, every 3 or 2 commercial breaks, I play our commercials instead of leaving it on the Pacer commercials.
Okay.
I get to listen to
It's fun.
basketball play-by-play.
Get paid to do so. Texas says, hey, if Michigan had gotten invited to the Pop-Tarts Bowl, this would have never happened. That frosted cinnamon roll unwrapping and a closed-door toaster, need I say more? Pop-Tarts Wank Room.
Michigan coaches just love cheating up there.
In all forms.
So a bunch of cheating going on up there. Hate it.
Texas says, I would prefer if you and Drew Diener had a feud, honestly. He may have a feud with me. I don't
already got a feud happening. You and Ramsey been feuding.
No, that's Spears. I love John. Do not like John James Spears. That's my feud. Texas PRTG here. I'd much rather hear Virginia's thoughts on Wicked than Scoot's thoughts on IU football. On Hollowed Ground is a pretty good sports doc from the Skip to My Lou, Ray for Austin convo. What odds would Roman give me if the Pistons won the championship?
Oh, wow. I would throw you plus 3,000 right now.
Ooh.
Does that sound bad? Let's go see what it really is.
NBA championship odds?
Yeah. They've got them all up already. I'll guess that they've got the Pistons at the 5 spot at plus 5,000. Something's telling me they could potentially make a conference finals with the things are shaping up. I'm very, very wrong here. They've got them at the 1, 2, 3,
They're
4,
way
5,
down.
6, 7, 8 spot, but
way
it's
down.
plus 2,700. So better odds than what I gave you, but not where I guess they would be. So
I'm seeing the same thing. They're way down there.
Yeah. Oklahoma first at plus 130, plus 700 for the Nuggets. Then we get into the plus 1,000s for pretty much everybody else. Boston first team to get to the plus 2,000 mark after the Lakers at plus 1,700. So, I mean, the Pistons, in terms of where the East teams are at, they've got a good shot, but they're not winning the finals.
Texas, my best friend is an Indiana fan, and I was talking to him last night, and I told him your boy would go for 30+, and he was so upset and went off for 44. Lamar Wilkerson. Good player. It's not against us. Texas, hey, Mike, any truth to the rumor that the big dog, any truth to the big dog to Michigan stuff swirling? I can't say right now. Texas, what a show. Eating hummus off Mark Stoops' finger and mandatory whackings. Look, when you don't give us a game in the middle of basketball season for a whole week, this is what happens on a Wednesday show. This is what you're going to get. Nobody wants this.
But it must be done.
Just get ready for that week after Christmas, by the way. We don't have a game until the 30th. It's just a taste of what's to come. Texas, we don't have Brahms' contract finalized yet. Has anyone seen a Michigan moving truck on the Snyder yet? Get it back to that neighborhood. Texture says, first Mel Tucker, now Sharon Moore. What's going on in Michigan where the coaches are banging staff members? Look, it's not just Michigan. It's just getting out when you aren't good enough at your job. That's what happens. Texas, Mike, I'm sneaking my secretary through the ceiling. You'll have no idea. You think there's going to be a normal ceiling inside the wank room? We're going to lose a big-time football player because a lot of that, it's going to be a multi-million-dollar space. This is more important.
It's going to be worse. It's going to be texting cheerleaders while they were in the wank room.
That's still a step up from the alternative.
It's not breaking the law, I guess.
Not technically illegal. Texas Big X Wing Station. No, we can't. We're not putting our name on that. You pay us for that sort of thing. Texas, Dabo to Michigan. You heard it here first. I would love it if Dabo went to Michigan. Clemson had no coach for next season. Oh, it'd be wonderful. Okay, we got to. What is this? People are already retweeting Sharon Moore, just saying, yes, sir, hashtag go blue, smash. And then Sharon Moore, boom, huge addition to the family from 29. Okay, that's too much. Tonight in the NBA, Roman. Suns Thunder, first game, 7:30, Prime Video, OKC, 15.5-point favorite. Are they ripe for a huge upset here?
No. And the Suns Twitter account keeps tweeting like there's a chance that they're going to win tonight. I'm like, it's just different in the NBA. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've got Grayson Allen taking 6 step backs.
Oh, God.
Come on.
Spurs Lakers, 10 o'clock, Prime Video. Who wins?
Give me the Spurs. I mean, give me the Lakers. Sorry. Give me the Lakers.
I think the Lakers win as well tonight. Last one real quick. Wisconsin, Nebraska. Does the undefeated Husker season continue?
No.
I think Wisconsin goes on the road and beats them. I think it ends tonight.
I think so, too.
One of the 8 unbeatens in college basketball is no more.
Give me all 3 ACC teams to cover.
That's what I want to hear. Love it. Ticket Punchers up next for more bets. Keep it locked right here. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
339-1133. Go